Mostly sunny skies, then into Thursday, partly sunny, a high of 84. A little bit breezier with wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. As we head late Thursday night into Friday morning, some scattered showers and storms, then the possibility of a few isolated stronger storms as we head towards Friday evening. That'll look to clear by Saturday, high of 76 degrees. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
There's a lot to talk about today, St. Louis. Let's get the conversation started. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
Happy Earth Day. Yeah, it's Earth Day, I guess, kind of a Marxist holiday that's gone mainstream here. Is there anything for those of us on the right to celebrate when it comes to Earth Day? Well, maybe we can celebrate all of the failures that the left has had trying to reach all of their goals. So we'll talk about that in a little more depth, say about right around 1 hour from right now. Hey, good morning, Mike Ferguson here. Did you see the news about the whole food truck thing in St. Louis? It kind of hit the news the last couple of days. So food trucks, popular. Who doesn't love a good food truck, right? Except some of the businesses around St. Louis say, we don't want the competition. And they're openly saying that. Among the biggest businesses saying, keep those things away from here. We want government to keep that away from our businesses are the St. Louis Cardinals. They don't want food trucks anywhere near the stadium. They don't want them near Ballpark Village. They don't want the competition. Yeah, I've got some problems with that, too. We spoke with David Stokes from the Show Me Institute about that on Tuesday. Here are his observations.
Everybody loves a good food truck.
Oh, of course.
I love a good food truck.
Absolutely.
You know who doesn't love a good food truck?
Who's that?
Well, the Cardinals.
What?
If it's too close to their, because listen, they've got $8 hot dogs and $16 beers to sell. They don't want some entrepreneur trying to build a business too close to them. Well, at least that's the way things are coming across here. We're now joined by David Stokes from our friends at the Show Me Institute. And David, I actually saw this story when you retweeted it the other day, and this is basically the city council getting pressure from what seemed like, there's always going to be a little bit of debate and controversy, but it really didn't become a big thing until the Cardinals stepped in and said, whoa, we don't like that. Don't allow that little bit of competition too close to us. What is it that the Cardinals are complaining about? Because really all the Board of Aldermen is talking about doing is letting food trucks operate in some more areas around downtown and maybe Soulard and some other areas.
Exactly, Mike. And that's what it's about. It's about stifling competition, and it's about limiting opportunities for vending throughout the city of St. Louis. And so what you have here is you have very limited areas in the city of St. Louis where food trucks are allowed to operate. And look, I'm okay with certain basic regulations from a traffic perspective. I mean, you can't allow a food truck to just park on a major road and block traffic. But beyond that, throughout the state, we're talking about the city of St. Louis here, but it happens around the state. The restaurant industry and others, they use city government to block competition by blocking food trucks, whether through zoning rules or food or health code rules, whatever it may be. And you have here an effort to expand where food trucks can operate in the city of St. Louis fairly dramatically. And it was stopped, unfortunately. And it was stopped by both the restaurant interests and then particularly the big dog, as you said, when the Cardinals came out opposed to it and said this threatens sort of our sphere of limited activity around the ballpark where they have been given, I would say, unfortunately, control on the public streets, not just on their private property, but control on the public streets around the ballpark of who can vend and who can't.
Yeah, let me follow up on that because that's what I wasn't clear about reading a couple different articles on this is Ballpark Village. I get it. That they've got control, even though I think we've got some subsidy involved in that too. How far does their veto power, essentially, their exclusivity around the stadium extend? How far is it that they get to say, no, we don't want competition even close to us?
Well, I understand, and I just got it from a note on social media by somebody who replied and said it's 250 feet around the stadium, where even if they don't control it, it's not their property. They have authority as to who can vend and who can't. So I trust that that's the accurate thing, and it makes sense because when I used to I go to a lot of ball games, mm-hmm. and I used to park before my wife switched jobs. I used to park in a building north of the stadium, and we'd walk south on Broadway, and there was always a guy right at the hotel there at Walnut and Broadway, and they were selling peanuts and water and all sorts of things. And that makes sense because that's right about a football field away from the stadium. So apparently, that vendor is getting just outside of the Cardinals' sphere of control. And, sometimes we'd buy stuff there and usually we wouldn't. But, I don't agree that, and apparently this deal was made when the Cardinals made their massive investment in the stadium 20 years ago, which was wonderful, and I love the Cardinals. But I don't agree that we should still be giving them control as to who can operate on city streets or not for vending. I think that should be up to entrepreneurs under a basic set of rules that apply to everybody, not one rule for the Cardinals and one rule for the small food truck that would like to operate but is prevented from doing so.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about essentially a version of cronyism if the big dog gets to decide who can compete and where they can compete. Because, again, I mean, I get what you're saying as far as, not blocking traffic or being allowed to, show up at any corner and causing, some problems. That's a public safety issue. But when it comes to the entrepreneurialism, I mean, if they've got their license, they've passed the health codes, they've done the same things that anybody else has to do. The question then becomes, why shouldn't they be allowed to compete for dollars from with one of the big dogs? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a food truck that's going to have specialty pizza like Katie's at Ballpark Village, that sort of thing. But there may be guys selling, a $4 pulled pork sandwich instead of the, $11 one at Salt and Smoke or something like that. So to me, it's a free enterprise and a free market issue, and another example of the city trying to move in the right direction and then getting sort of bludgeoned back by the big dog in town. I don't know if there is a bigger dog in town than the St. Louis Cardinals, unless, maybe it's Edward Jones or somebody.
Right. I don't think there is a bigger dog in downtown St. Louis, and I get it. The Cardinals have made a huge investment there, backstopped by taxpayers, of course, but none of that gives them the right, in my opinion, to control who can compete against them on land that isn't theirs. They can control whatever they want on their own private property, obviously, but these are public streets, and food trucks should be allowed to operate there. And you see this cycle repeated throughout the state of Missouri, in that people, use local government. That's the big picture here that I want to stress to people. People use local government to limit their own competition. In this case, it's frequently existing restaurants who use the power of law to stifle smaller competitors. We wouldn't think to say, oh, you're a large restaurant, so we're not going to let a small restaurant open nearby you. That would be competition. I mean, that would be absurd. If you want to open up a new restaurant on the Hill, you can open up a new restaurant on the Hill. But the idea that you say, well, you're a mobile restaurant, even though you've met the same food code requirements and health requirements and pay taxes too, we're not going to allow you to operate because that's competition for existing restaurants. It's absurd how much we allow that to happen in the city of St. Louis, but also throughout plenty of St. Louis suburbs too. I mean, you have this throughout the region, and it's in most instances a very, very bad idea.
So we kind of have a backdoor certificate of need program for cannoli and for toasted Rev.
Right, exactly. Like, I never thought of it that way. Next time, you've probably ruined the Godfather scene for me now, because I'll think about certificate of need next time I hear, ditch the gun, take the cannoli. Right. But alas, that's a good way to do it. You've just got, in this case, the Cardinals and the restaurant industry using local government to block competition, and that's wrong. It's wrong whether it's at America's largest antitrust battle, and it's wrong whether it's at a local restaurant trying to keep a food truck off the street. It's not the proper use of local government.
Yeah, I mean, and like for instance, so there was some reference to Soulard as well, and the bars and the restaurants there complaining about it, saying don't let them here, and they were explicit in we don't want more competition to be allowed. And there's a lot of people going, oh, well, that makes sense. Well, of course, you don't want to have to lose sales to them. But again, this is a free enterprise. If you want to beat them, then have a better price with a better product. And my daughter works at one of the restaurants in Soulard.
Right. When I was a younger man, I was in the restaurants and bars and Soulard all the time. I love them, but you don't get to say, and it's crazy that people feel so comfortable saying this. Like, yeah, we don't want the competition. Use government to prevent them from operating, but it happens all the time. And what we like about, at the Show Me Institute, what we like about the food truck case is that it's right before your eyes. It's not done, behind the scenes. It's not, you see food trucks in certain parts of the city where they are allowed, and then you wonder, well, why can't I get this in Soulard? Why can't I get this in other parts of the city? And then you realize, because there are rules, totally ad hoc rules that don't serve any real public interest other than protecting existing competitors, that say, no, you're not allowed to operate that. And you can get it. You get that in Clayton. You get that throughout St. Louis County and other parts of the area. I don't want to just pick on the city here, but it is wrong, and it's improper, and you've got these small business people out there, these entrepreneurs, exactly the type of people that the city should be encouraging to the largest extent possible to say, yes, go and operate, go bring things downtown, put things downtown that people want, and they're stifling it and limiting it, and it's terrible.
Is there a case to be made for, but it's okay to preference brick and mortar businesses who have been here forever as opposed to somebody who wants to literally drive in, do business, and drive out?
No, I don't think there is. People will make that case, sure. And I want to say that about, let's say the Cardinals with Ballpark Village. I mean, they were preferenced over existing brick and mortar businesses that were already there. When Ballpark Village was built with tax increment financing and other tax subsidies, they gave the St. Louis Cardinals a tax advantage from government over its existing competition. The Shannons, we all remember, closing very quickly after Ballpark Village opened. That's just one example. Other bars and restaurants went down too. So yes, the Cardinals got that advantage through taxes in that case and tax subsidies, and now they're trying to further their advantage through government by limiting their own competition. So it's wrong whether you do it through tax subsidies. It's wrong whether you do it through zoning. It's wrong whether you do it through a health code that applies to one restaurant but not a food truck and says, well, even if you both pass it, we're not going to allow one to operate. However you do it, it's wrong. And yes, that's a great example you gave, because the Cardinals seem to be being the beneficiary of this on both ends of it. They get the good side for the tax subsidies with Ballpark Village, and they get the good side of it by limiting their competition by not allowing food trucks near the stadium. So I get it. As we've referred to them a few times, they're the big player downtown. As somebody else on social media said, he who has the gold makes the rules, but that doesn't make any of it right.
We're visiting with David Stokes with Show Me Institute. Just got a minute or so left here, David. I remember when we worked downtown at the radio station here. Now, of course, we're in Maryland Heights. But I would sometimes walk to the day games, go through them, Union Station, just walk down to the stadium. Figured I needed to pre-walk off all those nachos I was going to get. But you walk by several places where there used to be a restaurant downtown. There used to be a coffee shop down there, and it's all empty. So in essence, what's happening is the Cardinals are saying, for those employees downtown, for those who happen to work federal building, for those who work in whatever accounting or whatever the business is down there, what businesses are left, we're going to cut off, access to those customers for these food trucks as well, because they could go and make a killing just sitting outside of the federal facilities or City Hall when people want to go get some lunch. And at this point, the Cardinals, depending on how far they want to push back, then they could actually be limiting customers' choice, even if they're not going to the ball game.
Well, that's just the reality of the situation, is that clearly the number of options for the people downtown, whether they're workers or tourists or whoever, are far, far less than they were before COVID, and shrinking every day. Every day the Business Journal has a new story about the law firm or whoever moving out to Clayton from downtown. It's not a drip at all, and it hasn't been a drip for a long time. It's happening daily here, and it's getting worse. And to respond to that by saying we're going to retrench, we're going to protect our interests even more, is exactly the wrong way to go about it. That just leads to people even wanting to go downtown less, because now you'd have even fewer options. You might have, if you walked from the old stadium down Market to the ballpark, you would have passed one of the few areas in downtown where food trucks were allowed on sort of, Market around 10th Street or so. But why they're not allowed throughout the whole part of downtown is beyond me, and it's time to make that change.
Okay, once again, let's have the Earth Day discussion. Bonner Cohen from our friends at CFACT going to be with us right around 6:35. The left has failed in a lot of their policy goals and a lot of their agenda, and for that we can be very thankful, but they've also succeeded and made things worse in a lot of ways too. So that update comes your way here in about 45 minutes. Hey, don't forget, Flashback Friday coming your way here in just a couple of days, so be sure to start sending in those 80s bump music requests for this coming Friday. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs Attorney at Law has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs Attorney at Law. Call 636-949-0010 extension 3 today or visit colecombs-law.com.
Tony Colombo here for All Solutions Pest Control, the team Christine and I trust to protect our home. We've used multiple services at multiple homes over the years, and I can tell you from all that experience, All Solutions is second to none. If you have a pest problem of any kind, or more importantly, just want to prevent a problem, All Solutions is the team to call. Learn more and take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer right now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This spring into savings with Johnson Heating and Cooling. Rebates up to $600 off a complete HVAC system. And here's the deal. Purchase a complete system and get a free humidifier. Plus, financing available up to 0% for 60 months. Don't miss out. These offers expire June 30th. Visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com. That's johnson-heatingandcooling.com. Johnson Heating and Cooling. Your comfort, our priority.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District.
This spacecraft will be descending at 9,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
And the friction with the air will hit 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. No, thank you. Hey, I'm claustrophobic. I don't even like to get in a scanner at the airport, much less this little space capsule for 9 days.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at pacificvets.com, pacificvets.com.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, Missouri voters, here we go. The legislature puts the final touches on that referendum that's going to be voted on this year. Do you want to eliminate the state income tax? It is all in the hands of the voters now.
Ooh.
It passed the House. So it's already passed the Senate. The House took the Senate version, and we talked to Ben Keithley Monday, I guess it was. And they said, yep, we like what the Senate changed, and they just approved it. This does not go to the governor because it's going directly to the voters, so the governor does not need to sign this. If he did, he would do it because this has been one of Governor Keogh's top priorities. So what's going to happen now is that either in August or in November, I'm not sure which ballot that's going to end up on, but Missouri voters will decide whether or not to eliminate the state income tax, become the next state to eliminate the state income tax. Most of the states that don't have an income tax are red. There is one blue one, but for the most part, it's red states that do this. So it's going to be up to the voters. The messaging is very, very clear from the Democrats now. I saw the pattern on social media when I was looking. They're now saying Republicans approved the everything tax. That's what they're calling it.
Yep.
Because they're talking about the fact that the sales tax in the state will be expanded to things that are not taxed now. And so what they're pitching this is as a tax increase because more people would be paying taxes because there are so many people in Missouri who pay no income tax now. So they will pay more in sales taxes.
Well, I mean, yeah, it seems like right now the brunt of pretty much all the funding for the state goes towards the people that actually work and are productive for a living, and that's not good when you have fewer and fewer of those people living in the state.
I think we're going to talk to Camellia Peterson from Americans for Prosperity, who has been – Americans for Prosperity has been neck deep in this fight for over a year now. And so we've, of course, got the Road to Zero town hall meeting about this coming up next week. It'll be a week from tomorrow. I'm going to be moderating. Nick Schroer's going to be there. Ben Keithley's going to be there. If you want, I really hope that you come out to this. I'm actually getting some texts from people I haven't heard in a while saying, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm interested. I'm not sure everybody who's texting me is on board with it, but they're like, I want to find out more. That's the point.
Yeah, because I've been trying to keep an eye on social media, like the threads that are being posted. We had a lot of really good reaction with the Ben Keithley
one. Yeah, man, I looked. I'm like, oh boy, people are arguing over that one.
There were some people that I think misguided, but made a decent point. There were people that just completely were like, no, I want my stuff still funded, and I want my money, my taxpayer funded stuff to continue. Right. And I really hope some of those people show up as well. I mean, that's going to be a fantastic event.
Right. I mean, they've entrusted me to kind of moderate this whole thing. And I've made it real clear. This isn't a campaign rally. Now, you're a supporter of this. Come on out. You're going to hear from the people who had a huge hand in writing this and pushing it through the legislature. If you're opposed to it, you're going to be able to talk to the people who wrote it, who had a big hand in writing it. So if you're not sure, then you definitely need to be at the Road to Zero Town Hall. All of the information is at NewsTalkSTL.com. Americans for Prosperity Missouri is handling the RSVPs. It is an absolutely free event, but we only have so much room in the room. So, RSVP, it's free. Claim your spot. And then we're going to talk to Camellia about this here in just a little bit. We're going to talk about this a lot more today, too, as well. Virginia voters basically give the green light to their Democrats to do their gerrymandering of the congressional seats.
Figured this was going to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. Now I read that Florida may try to last minute throw something together as well. So this is just the latest line in this. The war got amped up this year, so all the states are scrambling to pick the voters so that they can get as many notches on the U.S. House. And it's going to be a massive mess, but the Democrats could pick up like 4 seats because of this vote last night in Virginia. So we'll talk about that impact throughout the morning here.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payments interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. That's 800-493-5670.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Democrats are a step closer to taking the closely divided U.S. House in the fall. Virginians have narrowly voted for a new congressional map, likely giving Democrats 4 additional congressional seats.
Democrats Barack Obama and Congressman Hakeem Jeffries were among those pushing for the measure, which gives Democrats 10 congressional districts and Republicans just 1. It passed by a rounded 51 to 49% as Northern Virginia votes for the new map overwhelmed a strong downstate turnout against it. But this is not yet the final word. A redistricting challenge is on the Virginia Supreme Court's emergency docket. Anne-Marie Morgan reporting.
A fresh attack in the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran has fired on a container ship in the Strait of Hormuz, damaging the vessel and complicating efforts to bring the US and Iran together in Pakistan for talks to end the war. And the British military says another ship has come under attack in the strait. The first attack by Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard came after President Donald Trump said the US would indefinitely extend the ceasefire with Iran, which had been due to expire today, Wednesday, to give Tehran time to come up with a unified proposal.
Correspondent Charles De Ledesma. Democrat Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick has resigned, doing so just moments before the start of a hearing. It could have led to a recommendation that she be expelled from Congress. Southern Poverty Law Center has been indicted on federal fraud charges. The Justice Department alleges the SPLC defrauded donors by using their money to fund the very extremism that it claimed to be fighting. The SPLC denies any wrongdoing. Stock futures higher this morning on Wall Street. The Dow futures are up 233 points. NASDAQ futures 192 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt, and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm First Alert 4 meteorologist Chance Gotch, and we're going to continue to track a warm afternoon. How about 81 degrees as the day continues on, starting towards the lower 60s. Mostly sunny skies, then into Thursday, partly sunny, a high of 84. A little bit breezier with wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. As we head late Thursday night into Friday morning, some scattered showers and storms, then the possibility of a few isolated stronger storms as we head towards Friday evening. That'll look to clear by Saturday, high of 76 degrees. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
Tim Jones here to introduce you to your new favorite roofing company, Corel Roofing. There were 4 major storms last year. Did your roof take a hit? Do you even know? Most homeowner insurance policies require claims to be filed within 1 year, so time's running out for a closer look. At Corel Roofing Company, you get a local roofing specialist who will advocate for you every step of the way. Give yourself peace of mind. Schedule your roof inspection today with Corel Roofing at CorelRoofingCo.com. That's CorelRoofingCo.com.
A Disney cruise is no ordinary vacation. It's an adventure, a fairy tale, a dream. Step aboard and discover where favorite Disney characters meet fun for the whole family, where total rest and relaxation meet the ultimate escape and excitement, where a dream vacation meets a magical cruise. Only on Disney Cruise Line, where magic meets the sea.
Magic Expeditions will make planning your Disney cruise easy. Reach out at magicexpeditions.com. On the next
Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. On this date, the death of the only president to resign.
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Big guy, one of the biggest in the world.
Susie Moore.
Do you think he's ready?
He's not ready.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This is your cousin.
Okay, let me throw a damper out there right off the bat here.
Ooh.
Did the Democrats win the final round of the gerrymandering boxing match as we head into the midterms?
Final round?
Final round for this year, at least, before this midterms.
Then I would say no.
Maybe not. Okay. By the way, how are you going to vote? So 620, because Missouri's talking about the income tax thing, so we're going to do that too. How are you going to vote? Okay, Missourians are going to decide whether to keep or phase out the state income tax. 620, we're going to get to that. So to let you know, you want to have a go at it, we're going to do that. We're going to do that in about 14 minutes, okay? So I'm going to put out the question, I think, on the Rumble chat box, like, how are you going to vote? Yes, no, I don't know yet. And all three you've got defensible answers on all three of them. So let us know what you think. So 620, we're going to do that around 6:06 right now. Okay, so Virginia narrowly approves. Now, what this, as the way that I'm understanding what was approved, is it didn't approve directly that 10-1 map. It approved the authority for the legislature to put that map into place, which they've already said, this is what we're going to do if you say yes.
That's
so
right.
It generally speaking, the voters narrowly, and it was a close vote. They're going from a 6-5 Democrat-Republican map to a 10-1 map.
Likely, yes.
So this is a 4-seat pickup in all likelihood for the Democrats in the U.S. House. Okay, so let's go back to this year, because you actually put a post out by Guy did it.
Guy Benson.
Yeah, which I thought was really helpful. And so this year, the president tells Republicans, find me more votes, redistrict and find me more votes. Texas was kind of the first out of the gate to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about it last year.
Right, but they really amped that up. Big fight down there. Republicans ended up winning, and I don't remember how many they're likely to pick up. Five. Okay, so +5 in Texas. California says, "Oh, you want to play that?" Now, of course, Democrats have been playing that for years, and so they put it before the voters. Voters say yes, and so what are the?
That's Prop 50, which allows California to redo their lines. Yeah.
And so, do we know what the likelihood of the pickup is in California?
5.
Okay, so they wash out. Missouri says, we're going to do this too. And so Missouri picks up 1. Indiana says, okay, we'll try to do it. And basically Republicans are like, you know what, we're not going to get into this. We're going to keep the districts the way they are. And Indiana kind of bows out. Now we've got Virginia with likely a 4-seat pickup. So we've got a +3 for Democrats this year. But then you go back to the last couple of years. Illinois redistrict, gerrymander. All of this is gerrymandering, by the way. Republican gerrymandering and Democratic gerrymandering. It is all gerrymandering.
Well, it's all political gerrymandering, not racial gerrymandering, which is prohibited.
And which is actually, if the Republicans in Missouri could have gone 8-0, they would have. Because the 1st district seat here, where Wesley Bell serves now and Cori Bush was before, that's basically, there's a court order saying that is going to be drawn so that a black Democrat gets elected. That's essentially what that is drawn. I'm actually not hyperbolizing that. That's what the ruling is draw it in a way that basically guarantees a black Democrat gets elected. And so before this, though, you've got Maryland, you've got New York last couple of years, and then Illinois as well. So overall, the last
all
couple
of which have interesting little like spaghetti line districts.
It's I've compared it to taking like a bowl of spaghetti and saying, let's draw our lines and just dump it on the ground and go, okay, that looks good. It's like driving around Boston.
Yep, pretty much.
That's what it looks
very similar.
That's what their maps look like. It's like because they paved the road.
That just gave me anxiety.
Yeah, I know, but they when I remember the first time I was driving around Boston and then Brockton, which is a suburb of it, and I'm thinking, what in the world are you people doing with your roads? And then some of the locals told me, and once I could decipher their accent, basically they paved over the roads where the horses and the horse and buggies and all of that went.
There's cobblestone underneath all of that pavement.
They just paved it over where all the grass was worn out. That's how they did the road. At one point in Brockton, there's an intersection. Hold up your hand and spread out your fingers. That's what the intersection looks like.
Yep.
I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Okay, anyway, going back to, you go back to the last 2 or 3 years, the Democrats have gerrymandered better than the Republicans or more effectively than the Republicans have if you're just looking at the total pickups.
Yes, and with less pushback.
Right. And so now Florida may look at doing something, but I don't know what they can do.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing to recognize with the Virginia decision, that's still tied up in court too.
Yeah,
it's not guaranteed that whatever the Democrats do actually will be in effect before this year's elections. It might, but it's not guaranteed.
Do we know what the judges are like who will be deciding these cases?
Not there's two or three different cases, and some ones at the Supreme Court level and ones at a different level. So no, I don't have that information at hand.
Yeah, but time's going to be of the essence. This is something's going to have to be expedited, and I suspect both sides were writing their arguments months ago on this.
Oh yeah, no question about it. But there is still some litigation that is out there that could affect the ultimate effect of this.
Do I make people mad at me right off the bat?
Oh, great, sure.
Do it. Okay.
I'm just going to leave him.
Republicans don't complain. I mean, this is the way the game's gone now. If you dismissed and mocked the Democrats for complaining about the Missouri map because it's gerrymandered, this is what now. Did the Democrats start all this? Yes, 100%. But once both sides are doing it, you just either win or lose on this. So do we get used to, should we start practicing saying Speaker Hakeem Jeffries?
Well, I don't think you quite understand, though. We're doing this to correct a wrong that they did to us.
Well, that's the argument, and there's some validity to that. That's so not completely.
It's still wrong for them to do it back to us.
Well, maybe, but that's the where we're at right now. Is we are now in a vicious cycle of who is going to make sure the politicians pick their voters as opposed to the voters picking their representatives, who's going to do that more and more efficiently. Because this Virginia one, let's assume for the sake of argument that it stands in the courts, which they may very well. They're talking about making this like through 2030.
Yeah, so the Virginia, the voters in Virginia in 2020 implemented a new commission that would do their maps. And this is a temporary change of that thing that you guys just voted on a couple of years ago, just for now.
Right. Through the end of the decade when there's going to be another census. So remember, 2030 is 4 years from now. So so basically it's a anti-Trump insulation measure is what this is.
Right.
Okay, but quick caveat. And Scooter kind of makes a good point here. So the Virginia map is an example of democracy in action, whereas the Missouri map was kind of forced upon us by our legislators.
You could say that about the California map too, because those were voted on by the people as opposed to the legislature doing. I think that's the point Scooter's making, and it's a valid point.
Okay, so he's saying the voters are saying it's okay,
said yes.
But the voters in Virginia said it was okay. We want to do a commission just a couple of years ago, and then there was this mad scramble to do it differently. So, I mean, which voters were right? Which voters got their voices heard? I mean, I don't know. When you look at the map of Virginia and it's like all red and there's 2 green pockets as far as where, it's like, okay, but the people in outstate Virginia are all now being districted into a representative that's going to be like 200 miles away from them.
Right. And to be fair, you could say that about Kansas City, too.
Well, that's true. Although if you look at both sides of, Missouri is basically split in two if you look at the districts.
Yeah.
I mean, the bigger districts go to the middle of the state.
Yeah, I mean, because what's going to be the 5th district goes from downtown Kansas City literally to the NewsTalkSTL listening area here in the eastern Missouri.
And then the 3rd district goes from the eastern edge of Missouri to the middle of Missouri.
Right.
So what I'm saying is it's the same on both sides of the state.
Right.
They span a great distance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, the voters voted the way they voted in Virginia. They voted the way they voted in California.
Yep.
I mean, when you got, let's see, what's the vote here? Right now
it
it's
was like 51 point something.
51.5% to 48.6%.
Yeah.
So it's about 90,000 votes splitting it.
Yeah. So I mean that's close, but it's not, down to the wire. I mean they can do a recount, but that kind of difference is not.
I don't know.
You're not going to make up 90,000
do a recount
votes.
with that.
No,
that's too big a spread.
That's too big of a spread. So
the
bottom line is Democrats won and Republicans lost in Virginia.
So I still maintain that I think it would be great if we just went to the grid system.
I think. See, here's the thing: is I think that yes. I mean, and with, like for instance, AI tools, we could, assuming that we could do it objectively, just say, where do the people live? Evenly divide them up into the congressional districts based on whatever your state says, and do not consider who the people are or how they vote. Simply divide it up by the number of people and then let the chips fall where they may. And then, this is a bizarre concept, I know, because I'm one of those weird radio talk show hosts. And then what happens is the people decide the representatives, be they Republican or Democrat.
I would be perfectly all for that.
Yeah. And we're never going to do it.
We should.
The stakes are too high. Government has too much power and reach and influence. And so every single vote matters because we've made the federal government so big and so powerful.
You know what we are going to do, though?
What are we going to do?
We're going to remind you all that it's Bump
Day.
And we are asking for your Flashback Friday requests. You need to send them in to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL. What's our theme this week? Do we know?
So I've noticed a couple of our Rumble listeners are not fans of 80s music. They enjoy the show. They just don't like 80s music. So what are your requests? What can you send us to make them realize that there were good songs in the 80s?
Okay.
Best songs of the 80s.
Because if you don't like 80s music, you just have to be re-educated.
Might need to be redistricted.
You need to be you need to be indoctrinated.
Redistricted. Susie Moore here to talk to you about my friends at Window World. Window World windows are one of only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They're ranked number 1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. And in just over 20 years in the business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 80,000 customers in St. Louis. The St. Louis location has been owned, operated, and managed by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for over 23 years. So call for a free home estimate today at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. They've got Window World products that are not only durable, but offer security, beauty, and energy efficiency. Window World uses a double-strength glass that gives it a strength and that's not commonly used in replacement windows. They've got a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. You can ask your sales representative about products that Window World sells that are compliant with the current Energy Star standards. You got 1-800-GET-WINDOWS for your free estimate. And get this, they've got customer service available 7 days a week, which is something most other competitors cannot say. Another thing that separates this company from the rest of their commitment to, from the rest of the community is their commitment to customer service, which is shown by their excellent track record with both the BBB and other reporting agencies. Window World's now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. So if you are thinking it's time for new windows, call for a free estimate, 1-800-GET-WINDOWS.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis or go online to overstockoutletstl.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
Witness art come alive at the Augusta Plein Air Art Festival, April 23rd through May 2nd. Over 100 talented artists transform the scenic landscapes of Augusta into breathtaking masterpieces right before your eyes. Explore daily paint-out events at local wineries, historic sites, and the stunning Missouri River Bluffs. And the final day, May 2nd, enjoy the street festival with food trucks, more than 80 artist booths, live music, children's paint experience tent, and more. Learn more at AugustaPleinAir.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, it's up to Missouri voters now, and it's not a sure thing. No, there's going to be a massive pushback. I don't know what the amendment is going to be called, Amendment 1, 2, 3, Amendment ABC. I don't know what it's going to be called. But Missouri voters are going to decide, do you want to phase out the state income tax? After the state house passes the plan that came from the Senate, we just talked to Representative Ben Keithley about this on Monday, I guess it was, which, boy, did that start quite a debate on my X account at AVP Radio Show. If you want to find that interview, or just go to the News Talk STL podcast if you don't want to see all the arguing in my comments on that. But basically what we've got here is the constitutional amendment will set the structure in place and then direct the legislature to eliminate the state income tax and have the plan to do that. By the way, 1 week from tomorrow is our Road to Zero Town Hall event with Representative Ben Keithley, with Senator Nick Schroer, with our friends from Americans for Prosperity, with our friends from Missouri Mo Tax Relief Now. I know there's a few other lawmakers who are going to be there because they told me they're just going to be there. Now they're going to be in the audience or they're going to take questions. And I am appealing to everybody to come out to this. If you support it, if you oppose it, if you are not sure, if you are especially among those who are not sure, because this is a huge decision, Susie. This is a massive decision that voters are going to make. And so come on out and bring your questions. It is a town hall event. This is not a campaign rally for or against anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know more about this and really feel like you're well informed about it before you vote and before you talk to other people about how they're going to vote, this is the way to do it.
Right. Yep. And we're actually going to talk to Camellia Peterson because now the reality is that it is on the ballot. It's not what's the legislature going to do. So there's going to be a combination of a couple things. One, and Governor Keogh told us this when we were visiting with him at the Capitol, is that it will necessitate restrictions on government spending. Now, his number was $600 million, which I think is a good start. That's a really good start.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
No objection here.
But we're seeing the messaging from those who oppose it, but generally those on the left, although I think there are some people not just on the left who have questions about it or even oppose it. And what you're seeing is the term everything tax. So like, for instance, what Progress Missouri, what the Missouri Democrats were putting out on social media is they said, look who voted for the everything tax. And that's how they're going to spin this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like the everything bagel.
Right.
Oh,
right.
I like those.
Yeah. So,
Hey,
what they're arguing is, because they're making the argument that in order to eliminate the state income tax, that the state must match that quote unquote lost revenue with other taxes. And their argument is, therefore, they're going to have to increase sales taxes on everything and increase the rate on everything. Keep in mind that what they're not referring to is the restrictions on spending and the limiting of government that is involved.
Well, no, because that's no fun. Also, the implication that the only way you get revenue is by raising taxes,
right,
as opposed to generating more business in the area and revitalizing things. So, yeah, it's only from making the taxes go higher.
Yeah, it's the concept part of this is many hands make light work.
Mm-hmm.
To use a cliche from the 90s, broaden the tax base, meaning more people are paying into it through new jobs, new businesses, things relocating, tourism, and then the load is lighter on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And what lawmakers are looking at is, okay, how does Florida do this? How does Texas do this? Now, they have more tourism than we will ever have. Which they are far more.
Well, they have some advantages that we don't have.
The weather, for instance, the location.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mike. It's lovely out there this morning.
It is actually nice out there this morning. I was enjoying walking around early this morning out to the car. But then you look at, what did Kansas do wrong?
Yes.
Because you're going to see the state of Kansas throwing up a lot on this. And Kansas basically said, we're going to cut taxes, but we're not going to cut government spending. Then Governor Brownback, saw that into place. And Sam Brown, I've met Sam Brownback and talked to him a number of times. It's truly a great guy. But they didn't think their plan all the way through. And
Correct.
Missouri lawmakers are going, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But understand that's what the scare tactic is going to be.
Right. That it's going to be that, and it's going to be everything else, like you said, is going to be raised. All your other taxes are going to be raised, and this is going to hit people of lower means or lesser means harder. That's what the argument's going to be.
Let's talk about that, though, because the reality is that sales taxes are, and I'm just using economic terms, regressive.
Yes.
Because I'm going to pull a number out of the air, 4.5% sales tax on $100. Well, for us in this room, that's not the end of the world, no big deal. If you're barely scraping by, it hits a little harder.
Sure.
You may reduce your purchase by $5 to account, for that, if that's what you watch for. I mean, I've been, at times in my life, I have made calculations based on, okay, how much is the tax going to be? Okay, that means I can't, if I budget this much, well, I got to do the tax, which means I got to spend actually this much. So that does hit people who are in more poverty or closer to poverty, lower income. It does hit them harder. That's what regressive means. Income taxes tend to be structured in a way that economists will call progressive. You make more, you pay more. Well, that's a tenet of the left, is punish your success, punish your wealth, and make sure that you redistribute that.
Right.
And so the other part is, well, this is the sure thing. Let's not take a chance, is what they're arguing, as opposed to, well, other states have done this, and what's happened is they've ended up with more money and more revenue and more private sector activity.
Right.
Yeah.
The rising tide there is lifting all the boats. And in Missouri, we're just, I don't know.
Yeah, and
paddling around
right
in
well,
circles.
And we just talked to State Representative Brad Halbrook from Illinois yesterday, and he flat out said, we have got businesses and residents scrambling for border states because one of the main reasons is because Illinois is taxing them to death. And so you make it that much more attractive. We've got about 6 million Missourian people in Missouri, give or take. About 6 million is our population. What happens if that becomes 6.125 and you've got 125,000 more people paying some sort of taxes?
That's a big difference.
That's the goal. That's what
right. You want to draw people in.
Yeah.
The other thing too, Mike, you highlighted this. You were talking about the fact that there are times when you were making a decision about what you were going to purchase based on the computing the tax involved.
Right.
So you were making that decision. You were making that choice. That's the difference with sales tax versus income tax. Because if you're talking about somebody who has an income, but they're on the lower side of things, they're getting taxed on that income, and they don't have any say in it.
Some of them do. Some of them don't.
Well, yeah. I guess below a certain point they don't. But I guess I'm talking about somebody who's above that point.
Right. Middle class, lower middle
middle class. Right.
Yeah. They're getting hit.
They're getting hit, and yet if this is just a sales tax thing, it is a matter of making the choices and making decisions that are best for you from an economic standpoint, as opposed to just having it automatically taken from you with you don't have any say in it.
Right. And then you factor in, here's what the Republicans in Missouri are fighting for. This is what they're doing. They're saying, okay, we want that business that's in Fairview Heights, Illinois, O'Fallon, Illinois. Let's bring them to O'Fallon, Missouri. Let's look at that business that may start up in Cahokia, and say, you know what, Afton's got space that's looking for it. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. Let's look for that business that's getting the tax, the crap taxed out of them in, I don't know, Moline, and say, hey, Kirksville's got space.
Yep.
We've got stuff. And so, or somebody's looking to take a job in whatever, and they've got the choice between massive taxes, property, income, sales in the state of Illinois, or in the state of Missouri, or in the state of Tennessee, where they're not going to pay that. And the same salary, Midwestern salary, is just going to go farther.
Yes. I'm sold, but
yeah,
I'm not the one that needs to be sold.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, is there are fair questions about this.
There are, absolutely.
There are a lot of fair questions. And I am telling you, next week, we're going to be asking the questions from the variety of the perspectives on this. I'm going to be asking the tough questions, and I hope you are bringing your questions so that I can read them to the people who will have to answer, because they're the ones accountable for putting this on the ballot, and we're going to have that conversation.
I'm looking forward to it at the very least. Also, today is a big occasion for many on the left. It's Earth Day.
Doesn't quite have
really?
It doesn't
hanging.
It doesn't have that same. It just doesn't.
All just left me hanging. All right. It's Earth Day, and so at 6:35, let's talk about how the Earth is doing better because the left has failed in so many of their goals.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
People talk about federal money as if it falls from heaven. We thank heaven for it, but it came out of people's pockets.
On NewsTalkSTL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. On First Alert 4, meteorologist Chance Gotch, and we're going to continue to track a warm afternoon. How about 81 degrees as the day continues on, starting towards the lower 60s. Mostly sunny skies, then into Thursday, partly sunny, a high of 84. A little bit breezier with wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. As we head late Thursday night into Friday morning, some scattered showers and storms, then the possibility of a few isolated stronger storms as we head towards Friday evening. That'll look to clear by Saturday, high of 76 degrees. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
When you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Hi, this is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the region's largest RE/MAX real estate brokerage. It is cold outside, but the real estate market is hot. This is a great time to buy or sell a home. Interest rates are also declining, which gives you more buying power. Someday is not a day on the calendar, but today is. Call me at 314-852-8933 for a free custom home buying plan. 314-852-8933.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bauer Insurance Agency, the company that protects, the name you can trust.
The news and talk
We definitely hope and pray for a regime change. The Iranian people deserve much better.
that matters to St. Louis.
Iran has no air defenses. Iran has no navy.
And it's going to be over with pretty soon.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, happy Earth Day, everybody.
Happy Earth Day.
So let's celebrate the left's failures and what they have not succeeded in doing so far. But we can also look at what they have succeeded with their agenda and go, ooh, that didn't help. And I think this is one of the things that, according to typical media, this is completely counterproductive. If it weren't for the leftist, environmentalist, Marxist-based activism out there, then we would all be dying and we would be living in some post-apocalyptic Mad Max sort of world.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's apparently how they think it's going to work out. By the way, since it is Earth Day, you know celebrities are big about celebrating and promoting Earth Day, right?
Sure.
So throughout the morning here, I've got a few tidbits on how some of the celebrities are going to be celebrating Earth Day.
Great.
So we're going to start with Tiger Woods.
Oh, okay.
In order to celebrate Earth Day, Tiger Woods is going to get his next DUI while driving a Prius.
Oh, that's so environmentally friendly of him.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. All right, we're now joined by Dr. Bonner Cohen from our friends at CFACT. And Bonner, first of all, welcome back to the show. Been a while since you've been on the program here. But I kind of was intrigued by your statement that you put out that, of course, your team sent to us. And it was not bashing the effort to be a good conservationist or a good steward of the earth. I think we all agree on that. But it's a matter of, thank goodness the left has failed miserably at so many of the things they're trying to do in the name of environmentalism. Now, unfortunately, they've succeeded in some of their policy agendas. But let's look at what they have not been able to do and be thankful for that, essentially, is what I was reading.
Yes, and a happy Earth Day to everyone.
Right.
And in no small way, this is ironically a happy Earth Day precisely because it's not really celebrating the agenda that the proponents, that the environmentalist proponents of Earth Day have tried to impose upon us. That includes, among other things, a forced transition to green energy in the name of combating climate change. It turns out that green energy is not green or much less clean. As a result of the increased use of wind and solar power, we're actually despoiling the earth for several reasons. First of all, the raw materials that go into these so carbon-free sources have to be mined. This is done in such places as Central Africa and South America with little attention to environmental stewardship and standards. Also, in the case of Central Africa, using child labor. Once wind and turbines and solar panels have reached the end of their life expectancy, on paper around 20 years, but actually they start losing their energy efficiency. Before that, they have to be disposed of because you can't really recycle these things. So they're showing up in landfills all across the world, particularly in the U.S. The American Midwest is becoming a graveyard for discarded wind turbines, simply because many of the raw materials in them cannot be recycled. And on the top of all of that, these are intermittent sources of energy, which require battery backup. But the raw materials in the batteries also have to be mined, and the leading country in that is none other than the People's Republic of China. So the transition to green energy was actually in no small way strengthening the global position of our chief geopolitical rival, China, to no good end. Well, we're turning away from that now, at least the United States is. There are blue jurisdictions in the U.S. which are still clinging to this, but the trend is now moving away from them, and that is something that we can all embrace. And by the way, today, April 22nd, Earth Day, just happens to be the birthday of one Vladimir Lenin. And that, as the old Bolsheviks were fond of saying, is no coincidence, because it really tells you what the green agenda is ultimately about. It was chosen specifically to be on the birthday of one Vladimir Lenin.
What an interesting coincidence, not coincidence. Good morning, Dr. Cohen. This is Susie Moore. A follow-up question. You know, you've laid out very clearly the fact that the so-called green energy methods or ideas embraced by the left, particularly, often aren't nearly as green as they expect and maybe cause their own issues with the wind turbines, the solar panels, the disposal of those, the mining of those. I've yet to see a good answer from the proponents of those approaches to what you just laid out. Is there pushback? Is there an answer to the disposal issue there?
There's a good reason why you haven't seen a good answer. There isn't one.
Okay, well, that explains it.
Because the problems with solar waste and wind waste are not something that you can sweep under the rug, although they would love to do that. In truth, look, you can't power a full-time economy on part-time energy. And part-time energy is all wind and solar will ever be. And that they have all sorts of, well, you could say unintended, but completely well-known consequences, namely the solar waste problems, and also the transmission lines, the high-voltage transmission lines that connect solar arrays and wind farms, which are frequently in isolated areas, to population centers. These things go on for hundreds of miles. They go through people's property. They are despised by the owners of those properties through which these power lines have to go. So what you really have here is a disruptive technology. Sometimes disruptive technologies can be good things, but this is one that's really a bad thing because it is in no way, shape, or form capable of powering our needs for energy, which needs, of course, have been greatly stepped up as a result of the growing use of artificial intelligence, AI.
We're visiting with Dr. Bonner Cohen from our friends at CFACT Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow, and I just put the link in the Rumble chat box, cfact.org. So is there a proper place for the alternative energy, the wind, the solar, the whatever, as a supplement or in research? I mean, is it a matter of we just shouldn't be pursuing it, or should we say, hey, all of the above in their right place? There's nothing wrong with that. What's the right answer?
I'm afraid that the days of wind and solar, because they can never be anything more than, as you said, supplemental. I think we should put our focus elsewhere. What we need is reliable and affordable energy available 24/7, 365. Wind and solar will never do that. Now, we are mercifully doing away with the taxpayer subsidies that have propped up those two industries, and they're scheduled to be phased out in the years to come. I really think that we need to look at not just the abundant resources of fossil fuels, which the United States has thanks to favorable geology. We need to revitalize our nuclear power and look at other interesting alternatives, such as geothermal energy. This is really clean energy. It is beneath our feet, and what it does is it uses the heat near the Earth's crust which is considerable in certain places, to create actually electricity, incidentally using some of the same fracking technologies that are used to extract oil and natural gas. So if you think of the needs of not only the present generation of Americans, but future generations, let's look to what we know can supply our energy needs and help keep our economy afloat. And that is never going to be wind and solar. As you said, supplemental at best, but resources should really be put elsewhere.
For years, CO2 has kind of been the boogeyman of greenhouse gases. We've been told over and over again that it's a bad thing. Results from the use of fossil fuels, but it's a bad thing. And yet we're seeing an uptick in CO2 levels around the Earth and a greening of the Earth that seems to be commensurate with that. What's the explanation for that, and what the left is getting wrong with their arguments against carbon dioxide?
The left has been carrying out a jihad, to use a very fashionable but not inappropriate term, demonizing carbon dioxide, CO2. And they've been doing this for a long time in order to propel their war against fossil fuels. Well, it turns out that CO2 is absolutely essential for life, human life, animal life, plant life. Those of us who sat through science class when we were in the 10th grade probably remember, or at least we should remember, that CO2 is plant fuel. Atmospheric levels of carbon dioxide have, in fact, gone up considerably over the last, say, 75, 80 years. Thanks to our use of fossil fuels in certain agricultural practices, but it turns out that's a good thing. They're currently at around 425 parts per million and could easily double. We have 8 billion people living on the earth, and they're going to have to be fed somehow. And for that, we need higher levels of agricultural productivity. And the higher the atmospheric levels of CO2, the more productive our farms are going to be. So rather than try to lower levels of CO2, we should actually welcome the fact that they are going up. And we are, in fact, seeing a greening of the earth. There are areas, particularly surrounding the Sahara Desert, that until very recently were barren. They are now greening again. They are greening again because as satellite photos show, the higher levels of CO2 are promoting the expansion of plant life, and that is a good thing.
All right, Dr. Bonner Cohen from CFACT. People want to connect with what you're doing, which, by the way, there's a blog post I would recommend everybody check out called basically, what was it, the title here, is Climate Realism. basically climate realism on the upswing here. So how do they get in touch with that, or get in touch with you directly if they have questions, Bonner?
Okay, just check us out at our website, which is CFACT, CFACT.org, and you'll find a lot of very valuable information there.
All right, Bonner Cohen, great to talk to you again. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We've been talking about taxes.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to talk even more about taxes next Thursday at the Road to Zero Income Tax Town Hall. It's Thursday, April 30th at the Lodge de Pere from 6 to 8 p.m., hosted by none other than NewsTalkSTL's Mike Ferguson, that guy over there, right there, that guy, and Senator Nick Schroer and Representative Ben Keithley. They'll all be there for a discussion about the plan to phase out Missouri's income tax. You got to bring your questions. Yes. You got to bring your comments. You got to bring your questions. We're going to have a little conversation. Town hall. Like you said, it's not a rally. It's a town hall. So if you want to go, and you should, and be part of this, doors open at 6. The program and question and answer start at 6:30. You need to RSVP at AfP-Missouri.com.
And can I just point out that the entire time we're talking to Bonner Cohen, I'm always expecting him to say, they're great.
I'm always expecting him to say, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
The Laborers International Union of North America, Local 110, was formed in 1933 and from the beginning has strived for progress and the well-being of others. The laborers of Local 110 are hardworking men and women who take pride in their great work. They are the fastest-growing union of construction workers and one of the most effective unions representing plants and quarries. Laborers Local 110 has the best medical benefits, pension, education, and heavy construction training in the market. Visit lu110.com and start your future today.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, Virginia voters changed the political landscape in yesterday's vote.
Jerks.
Yeah, and Missouri voters will have the final say on the state income tax.
Go Mo.
And the Cardinals continue to surprise everybody.
Yay.
Basically. All right, 6:51 right now. Let's go ahead and get a news dump going.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The Morning News Dump
All right, President Trump has agreed to extend the ceasefire in and against Iran.
The president says the United States is extending the ceasefire at the request of Pakistani officials. He writes on social media that the U.S. military will not attack Iran as its leaders come up with a unified proposal to end the war. In the meantime, however, the president says the U.S. will continue its blockade of all Iranian ports. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And like everything else when it comes to the war in Iran, that could change hour to hour to hour at this point, because just yesterday it was, we're going to start dropping bombs everywhere, and now Iran has not agreed to a deal, and the president says we're going to extend the ceasefire to pursue this other avenue.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to point out, per the AP news, as of right now, or this morning our time, Iran is still capturing some of these ships and gunning them down and stuff. So I don't think they're taking the threats very seriously at this point.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's up to voters now. The Missouri House approves the proposal to put an income tax elimination constitutional amendment on the ballot later this year. It's already been approved by the state Senate. It does not require the governor's signature, although Governor Kehoe supports the plan. Now, if approved by the referendum vote, state lawmakers then will be tasked with passing a plan to phase out the income tax. Republican lawmakers say a combination of reduced spending and expanding sales taxes is how that will be accomplished. And we're going to talk to Camellia Peterson from Americans for Prosperity, who has been among the most effective groups working on this over the past year to year and a half. So we're going to talk to her in just a little bit here. All right, House Republicans speaking to reporters on Capitol Hill as a record DHS funding gap continues. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, shared how Republicans plan to move forward with getting the agency funded using the Senate's budget reconciliation rules, which could require only 51 votes instead of the normal 60.
In the coming days, the House will be working closely with the Senate as they commence on that reconciliation process. And it should not be forgotten that Democrats have shut down the third largest department of the federal government with all of its 10 agencies charged with keeping everybody safe.
Okay, is it just me, or is the airport line thing just not a thing anymore? I'm not hearing anything about it anywhere.
You're not hearing anything about it. I think in part that was some of that pressure was eased by by President Trump's decision to find another way to pay the TSA workers.
Mm-hmm. And then sending in the ICE officers, the ICE agents as well.
You're right. I mean, hey, it was the big thing 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Now what? No?
I'm not hearing anything about it now.
It's funny how that happens with the news.
Yeah. All right. Democrats could pick up as many as 4 seats in the U.S. House this November because of Virginia's redistricting. That's forthcoming here. Voters there narrowly approved a referendum giving the Democratic-heavy General Assembly the green light to redraw the district maps before the midterms this year. Now, that's likely to take the state's U.S. House delegation from 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. We'll be talking about this throughout the morning as well. All right, St. Charles residents in the city's Ward 1 have a new city councilman after this name was picked in a random drawing.
It's Chris Kyle. All right, and just like that, a new city council member is taking office in St. Charles City after a tie in the April election for the Ward 1 seat. That tiebreaker coming after these 2 men both got 572 votes to be the council member for Ward 1. The draw making Chris Kyle the winner over incumbent Bill Otto. Kyle was later sworn in with the other elected council members.
All right, that was KMOV's Corey Stark reporting there. So it all literally came down to pulling a name out of a hat, box or a jar or whatever.
I wonder if we should do more elections like that.
we probably wouldn't have any worse luck.
Particularly when you think about all, like, for instance, the Congress critters that are having to resign. It's starting to make me wonder.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. All right, and here's something that I wouldn't have guessed this one. A grand jury in the Middle District of Alabama indicting the Southern Poverty Law Center on 11 counts of financial fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The groups, now they say, of course, the Southern Poverty Law Center claims to be the one that just goes after extremists and hate groups. What they say. They haven't been worthwhile for a long time.
Oh.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The indictment says the group paid $3 million to organizations including the Ku Klux Klan through a system of fake bank accounts and prepaid cards. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche tells Fox's The Ingram Angle that the group lied to its donors, since it was actually funneling money to actual hate groups that they say they oppose.
That indictment charges a long period of time through 2023. And second, and more importantly, there's no allegation or information in the indictment that suggests they shared that information with law enforcement.
Susie, do you have any thoughts on this?
I do.
Please
I do.
share.
Thought that occurred to me is that this is very much like a firefighter setting fires so he can go put them out.
Yeah.
It's
job security.
Yeah.
And look what a hero I am.
Yeah. Yeah. So those very fine people in Charlottesville, it turns out, apparently, their ringleader was funded by the SPLC.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. The Cardinals even up the series with the Marlins, picking up a 5-3 win in Miami. Nathan Church had a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Dustin May gets the win. He went 5 1/3 innings, giving up only 1 earned run. The series wraps up today. First pitch for this one is going to be at 11:10 this morning, our time. Redbirds are tied with the Cubs for second place in the NL Central, just a game and a half behind the Reds.
Ever feel like just a number in a waiting room? Hi, I'm Shannon Tribune, Director of Operations with Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Navigating the medical system can be a maze of stress. I'm your personal guide at Body of Health. I handle the messy parts of medical care, the logistics and complex coordination, both in and outside our walls, so you and Dr. Tobler, that's my dad, can focus on what matters most, your health. At Body of Health, you're not just a patient, you're part of the family, because that's healthcare the way it ought to be. To learn more, schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hi, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, capitalism, that is increasingly under attack. But why is a free market system so important?
The simple answer, society is much better off because of free markets. Free markets allow individuals and business owners to freely choose what to consume, how to save, where to live and do business, what to produce, and how to protect our valuable resources, and so much more. And this can all happen without requiring heavy government interference. In a nutshell, free markets empower people to live their lives the way they choose. And this makes all our lives better.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The Iranians continue making trouble in the Strait of Hormuz as President Trump exercises restraint, hoping it will ultimately result in a U.S.-Iran peace deal.
U.S. President Donald Trump has unilaterally extended a ceasefire in the Iran war, but that doesn't mean that the shooting stopped. In fact, this morning we saw Iranian Revolutionary Guard forces open fire on a container ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, no one was hurt in that attack, but it apparently did severe damage to the bridge of that container ship. Iranian media outlet Noor News, which has long been associated with Iran's Supreme National Security Council, its top decision-making body, said that Iranian forces opened fire after the ship did not respond to demands of its military.
Correspondent John Gambrell. By a slim margin, Virginia voters have approved a congressional redistricting map that could help the Democrats win control of the U.S. House in November. The redrawn map boosts the Democrats' chances of capturing 4 additional congressional seats in the midterm elections. The state Republican leaders hope the Virginia Supreme Court will undo what they argue is an unconstitutional process and one that will disenfranchise millions of Virginians. The Pentagon says take the shot. or not.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth cited medical autonomy and religious freedom for no longer requiring flu shots. Vaccination programs in the U.S. military date back to the American Revolution. Hegseth says service members are free to get the flu vaccine, but will not be forced to because, in his words, your body, your faith, and your convictions are not negotiable.
And that's correspondent Ed Donahue reporting. Stock futures higher on Wall Street. The Dow futures are up close to 300 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 199 points. The S&P futures up 42. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Advantage Gold, America's #1 precious metals company, is sounding the alarm that a storm is coming and that now is the time to diversify your portfolio before it's too late. That's why we're offering an emergency gold and silver protection kit valued at $49, absolutely free for anyone who calls today at 800-900-8000. This kit includes critical information for investors with a retirement account seeking to own physical gold and silver but want to do it tax and penalty free. Advantage Gold has helped investors protect and secure their wealth with physical gold and silver since 2014. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and we'll rush your emergency gold and silver kit plus a free copy of Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. See how gold and silver can help you protect and secure your wealth with the help of Advantage Gold. Results vary. Consult your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm First Alert 4 meteorologist Chance Gotch, and we're going to continue to track a warm afternoon. How about 81 degrees as the day continues on, starting towards the lower 60s. Mostly sunny skies, then into Thursday, partly sunny, a high of 84. A little bit breezier with wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. As we head late Thursday night into Friday morning, some scattered showers and storms, then the possibility of a few isolated stronger storms as we head towards Friday evening. That'll look to clear by Saturday, high of 76 degrees. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
If fishing is your passion, you need a shop that shares it. 367 Bait Shop and Fresh Fish, family owned and operated by brothers Ty and Tony Baker, has everything the serious angler needs. The widest selection of catfish bait, fresh fish, and quality fishing supplies, all at prices that won't break the bank. Their knowledgeable staff is ready to answer your questions. And while you're there, don't miss their delicious fresh fish fries. 367 Bait Shop on Benham and Spanish Lake, or visit 367baitandtackle.com.
What if Missouri eliminated its income tax entirely?
Find out how at the Road to Zero Income Tax Town Hall.
Hosted by NewsTalkSTL's own Mike Ferguson.
Joined by Senator Nick Schroer and Representative Ben Keithley.
Come ready with your questions and get the facts on the plan to phase out Missouri's income tax for good.
Thursday, April 30th at the Lodge de Pere, presented by AFP Missouri and Mo Tax Relief Now.
RSVP today at AfP-Missouri.com. That's AfP-Missouri.com.
Mike Ferguson.
What is that private pile? Sir, jelly donut, sir. A jelly donut?
Susie Moore.
Mama don't like tattletales.
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, it is now up to the voters in the Show Me State. Yep.
No pressure.
Do you want to keep paying income taxes, or do you want to eliminate income taxes?
I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me.
Well, you know, the thing is that even though there's some arguments I disagree with, I think they're fair enough that we need to talk about them.
I do think it's worth talking about.
Right. Okay. So that's the question now. Before, like I said, the Missouri voters. We're going to chat with our friend Camellia Peterson here in just a moment. But I have been promising tips from celebrities and famous people on how they're going to celebrate Earth Day today.
Yeah, how should we be celebrating today?
So I think, how about Gavin Newsom?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Let's see what the hair gel has to say.
Okay, so it's funny you should say that. because Gavin Newsom is going to switch to biodegradable hair and hair product.
Oh, what a thoughtful fellow he is.
So that's
Governor Green Hair Gel.
I'd almost pay for him to do that. Go with the green thing.
Yeah.
Make
absolutely.
a statement. Make a
Why
statement,
not?
Saying. Make
not?
a statement. Do it.
He
All
should.
right. Okay. Income tax elimination.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? And one of the things that I think we need to approach this is by saying those questions are fair. Let's talk about them. We've got a few months to talk about them. You still need to keep it basic and simple and understandable for the messaging.
Yeah.
But we also need to acknowledge that there are tough questions and that sometimes people's worries and sometimes their objections aren't necessarily for bad reasons.
No. It's a tough topic, and it
really is. So let's start there. So we're now joined by Camellia Peterson with our friends at Americans for Prosperity, who we are working with next week on our town hall event here. And so the legislature now says, yes, it now goes to the ballot. Now the real work begins, Camellia. And so I want to get into some of the objections that we're hearing, because I think some of them are valid enough questions that we need to talk about it. And that's the whole point of the town hall meeting. But the basics before the voters now, whenever that's going to be, August or November, is essentially, do we want to have the end goal of making Missouri the next state without an income tax?
Good morning. Yes, so lots of big things happening. And I'm going to start off just by saying, we were at our National All-Staff Retreat in Boston. We chose Boston because of the turn 50th anniversary. And one of the things that AFP has really been, promoting and working on for the last couple of years has been this idea of what made America great, and reigniting the American dream. And it's that one small step that individual people took for liberty. And so that's really our emphasis, is like what one small step can you take? So I really think that for Missouri, this, in this idea of phasing out income tax is, it's a big step, but we have a lot of small steps to get there, and it takes bravery, because change is hard. But yeah, I think that what we're doing right now, I will tell you, I'm still kind of in shock that we got it passed this early in the session. I know we have a few weeks left, but so I think that's a good thing. But I think, like you said, the real work begins now, and we need to keep having the conversations that we've been having over the last year to address those questions and concerns that people have.
Camellia, this is going to be on the November ballot, correct?
As far as I know, that's the plan.
Okay, which would make the most sense, I guess. So from a messaging standpoint, what do you feel like are some of the most effective ways that we can attack this? Because this is going to be an uphill battle. There's going to be a ton of pushback and well-funded pushback. So, and you start talking about taxes and a lot of people's eyes glaze over. So what do you think is the most effective way to attack it?
I mean, I think the bottom line is that, this saves the average Missourian $1,500 in income taxes. What could you do with that money? The prices of everything is going up, and the government shouldn't get the first dollar that you earn. And so, I think that's the message, is this is putting more money and giving you more control over, what you do with your money. And to me, that's the most important thing of all here. And I know the changes, like, it's a big change. I think we need to acknowledge that. And I don't think that it will be easy and it won't be overnight, but it will be great, I think, especially for our kids in the long run.
Okay, so let's talk about the affordability part of it, because that's part of the pushback we're seeing. That we're already seeing some talking points from Progress Missouri and the Missouri Democrats and some other organizations like that. And they're saying Republicans just put the everything tax on the ballot. So let's hit this head on, because the affordability question is, what they're saying is, you're not paying sales taxes on that car repair right now. You're going to have to do it now, which is true, probably. You're not paying sales taxes on that streaming service, and you're probably going to. You're not going to pay taxes on this service or that service, and you're going to have to start doing it. So they're arguing it's going to make life more unaffordable, especially for people at the lower income. What's the reality and what's the myth in that?
Sure. So, I think that there are, and this is where we get into the wonky, economic weeds, and it's hard to explain this. It's hard to explain how much you pay for income tax at every level of what you buy. And so you are paying it, you just don't see it, but it is built into everything that you buy as a calculated cost in that. And, when it comes to talk about, affordability, and especially when you're talking about, senior citizens, people on fixed incomes, there are a lot of things that Missouri has done in the last few years to address those issues. We stopped taxing, for heaven's sake, we stopped taxing Social Security income. I couldn't believe we were ever even doing that, but we've stopped that. We've, did away with the capital gains tax. There are a lot of those things that affect, everyday Missourians. And I think that this is a way that will continue to bring those costs down for them, as, because part of this is not just that we're, I think the idea that you're hearing out there is like, they're going to tax you on everything, right? Well, there are things that are not going to be taxed that the governor's been very clear on. We're not going to go out and tax healthcare. So when you go to the dentist, you go to the doctor, you're not going to be paying extra taxes on that. So I think that the people who are looking at this plan are very cognizant of, the people that are, have limited resources. And the idea, we do not want to make that life harder for them. So I think that there are a lot of ways where this will level out. And, the truth is when you got, the mechanism in this bill actually is the only viable path to get personal property and property taxes down for those people. So I think that there's a lot of potential. We just need to communicate it in a clear way.
Camellia, you mentioned the fact that this measure actually made it through several weeks before the end of session, which does seem like a minor miracle, maybe a major miracle. But there are obviously other big agenda items that we're still looking at and hoping to get some progress on. Where do things stand with the REINS Act, and remind our listeners what the REINS Act is?
Sure. So just to recap, the REINS Act basically says that when unelected bureaucrats and agencies make these rules that cost businesses and Missourians, money, they have to have a checks and balance on that. And so if they're gonna make a rule or a regulation that's going to have a lot of cost to it, the legislature has to approve that, and just puts more checks and balances in there. And this also, it also codifies, the governor's very good idea when he first came into office, where he said nothing is, no rules are even being proposed unless they get, my sign off first. And so it codifies that too, because those are both good things. And so we've come so far, but we're right now in the Senate waiting for it to be put on the calendar so it can get to the floor for debate. This should be good bipartisan legislation because it literally helps everyone.
We're visiting with Camellia Peterson from our friends at Americans for Prosperity. Camellia, we got our big town hall coming next week. I have been saying on the air, I really hope people who are looking at the income tax question and they're saying, I don't know, I'm hearing a lot of stuff from a lot of sides. What is this all about? This is who should be at this. You and Mo Tax Relief Now, Americans for Prosperity, us here at NewsTalkSTL, we didn't put together a campaign rally. We put together a town hall to have the discussions. And so even those who are saying, I'm not in favor of this is who needs to bring their questions, and especially the people who say, I'm not sure yet. This is one of the best places they're going to go to get the information that they're going to need, and then they can decide yes or no on it.
Absolutely. No, those are exactly the people that we want there. And these are the kind of meetings we're going to be having throughout the year, because they deserve a time to come and bring those concerns and questions to legislators. And I can tell you, every single legislator that is working with this and has been in favor of this is more than happy to have those conversations and to, be really, honest in that front. And I really appreciate that of those people. Representative Ben Keithley, Senator Nick Schroer are both, very well versed in this issue, and I'm sure we'll be happy to have those conversations. So please come, even if you think you hate it, at least come and listen and ask your questions.
And maybe you'll understand why you hate it.
Yeah,
yes,
I think
right.
Especially if you think you hate it, you should come. I mean, don't bring fruit to throw or anything like that, but you should definitely come with your questions and see what they have to say. Camellia, you alluded to this. There's going to be other events like this throughout the spring and summer leading into the election to help, educate Missourians about what this is and why we could benefit from it. Town halls, what other sorts of events do you see being planned?
Sure. So a lot of things like the town hall, and then also for your listeners, this is a big important one. This evening, you can tune into a live teletown hall with Governor Kehoe, Dr. Aaron Hedlund, Senator Curtis Trent, Representative David or Bishop Davidson. You know, they've been handling the income tax bills in the legislature. And it's going to be like that. You can call in with your questions that you will hear from the governor himself. So if you want to be able to dial in and listen to that, we sent out texts, so hopefully a lot of people got texts where they can dial in as well. But if you want to just listen, just go to AfP-Missouri.com, and right on the banner, right at the top, there'll be a link where at 6:30 this evening you can tune in.
Okay, and are we going to see you on the next Thursday, Camellia?
Yes, I will be there.
Of course.
All right, and once again, let's put out that website because you all are handling the RSVPs. Now, once again, this is free. You're not applying to come. You know, we want you to come out there, but we are hoping for a head count. So how do people get on the RSVP list? Yeah.
Yep. If you go to AfP-Missouri.com, there's a little events link there at the top right-hand corner. Click on that, and you can see everything that we have coming up, and that'll be one of them.
Okay. Thanks, Camellia. We'll see you next week.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Camellia. The Democrats just put themselves in the position to win the U.S. House in the midterms. At 7:35, we're going to talk about Virginia's gerrymandering plan that passed on Tuesday and what that could mean to the whole country. But at 7:20, if you know someone who wants to do literal life-saving work, we'll let you know where their resume should go.
Inspiration, you have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now, I have had enough of this.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
On News Talk STL. Colombo and Company.
Just over 3 weeks to go in the 2026 legislative session, and we'll get the latest from Jeff City Wednesday with Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd, plus Danny Define and Closest Cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs, a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com. This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I'm just a step away, I'm just a breath away. The
losing my faith today.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Okay, I did not have the Southern Poverty Law Center is accused of being in cahoots with the Klan on my news bingo card, but here we are.
I'm not sure anyone did.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in just a minute. Also, listen, we talk about not consuming too much junk food, right? Because it's bad for your body.
For you.
Don't consume too much junk news. It's bad for your brain.
Oh, yeah.
See what I did there with that?
I see.
That's what I did there. All right, get the good stuff at RedState.com. So, Susie, what is on the top of your list of articles we should check out today?
This is the Red State Rundown.
On the top of my list of articles today is also on the top of the page right this second. It's from Bob Hogue, and it ties into something we're going to be talking about here. His is titled, "It's Not Over. The Courts Could and Should Neuter Virginia's Anti-Democratic Gerrymandering Gambit." I'm having that issue again. Apparently, I do need your caffeine.
Let's try it again.
Democratic Gerrymandering Gambit. It's a good article, even if I can't pronounce the headline. So you should definitely check it out. Also on Red State today, check out from Rusty Weiss, meet the Iranian regime mouthpiece pushing anti-U.S. memes from his California home. That's right, one of Iran's biggest propagandists is right here in the U.S.
That does not surprise me anymore.
Yeah, well, you want to find out more about that? Read Rusty's article. Also from this somebody named Susie Moore.
I've heard of her. She's famous.
Famous for flubbing her headline reading. 11th Circuit torpedoes injunction against alligator Alcatraz. That's right. Another win in the courts for the Trump administration and for the state of Florida. This one says, yeah, alligator Alcatraz, it's still a go. You can still keep doing what you're doing.
And, of course, the subject of the hit song, Gators at the, what was it, Gators at the Gate, I think was our song?
Gators at the Gate.
Gators at the Gate, the hit Mike Ferguson in the Morning song.
Oh, yes.
I
I
think
even
that
made
was
a music video for
I think
it.
that was
That was before me because I'm
before your time,
not
yeah.
recognizing that, but yes.
Yeah, no, we had, that was our second hit song with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Wow.
That's right. All right. 7:23 right now. As Susie just mentioned, you know somebody who would be a great fit and passionate about working to save lives in the pro-life industry. Our friends at Outreach for Life, or Reach Reproductive Health. The website is outreachforlife.org. But Reach is hiring, and here's the good news. They are hiring because they are saving so many lives. There are so many people coming to what they're doing. This is not a political thing. This is literally medical and serving those in need. So they are hiring for 5 positions right now. And you can go to outreachforlife.org/jobs, and you can apply for these. So they need an accounting coordinator. They need an operations manager. And they need an operations coordinator, and I don't know which is which in their hierarchy. But in their patient services area, in the St. Peter's location, they need a nurse manager, and they need a case manager as well. So you can go to outreachforlife.org/jobs, and you could also, let me see here. Yeah, the email address is Michaela R. That's Michaela Rodriguez's email address. Michaela R at reachrep.health. Best thing to do, outreachforlife.org, and all of the information is right there. That's going to be the easier way to do that. So if you or somebody you know is passionate about actually serving those in need and you're ready for that, that sort of challenge, they're hiring. This isn't asking for volunteers. They're hiring to do that. So be sure to check that out. Okay. Southern Poverty Law Center indicted, which, by the way, can you give me the 30-second Cliff's Notes on this, Susie? Not any specific person, but the organization. So is this a civil or criminal matter?
No, it's a criminal matter.
How do you...
An indictment is a criminal
And
charge.
I'm asking as to educate myself and everybody else, how do you charge an entity as opposed to an individual with a crime?
Right. You can't put the entity in jail, right?
As much as we'd like to.
Yeah. No, so you charge it with the crime. You go through the same process, but if there's a guilty finding has different repercussions, for instance, like fines, being put out of business, that sort of thing. And I'm not even, terribly familiar with that because it doesn't happen nearly as often. It wouldn't surprise me if there are follow-on indictments, superseding indictments that include actually named individuals once they do a little bit more, development of this case. But yes, you can hold an organization criminally liable.
Got it. Okay, so the basic accusation here is, remember, the Southern Poverty Law Center says we target hate groups. Now, what they have evolved into is we target anybody who's conservative or Christian.
Well, because those are all hate groups.
Right.
Duh.
To them, I mean, the Family Research Council is a hate group to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm trying to, there's just such a list of just conservative groups that they've put on their hate map.
Yeah. Catholics, pro-lifers.
Yep.
You name it. All very, very hateful. Mm-hmm.
But their brand is, we're here to fight the hate groups. And they've just, you know, and at one point when they first started, it was part of the civil rights movement era. And the thing was, is at one point they actually were an effective organization to fight back against the Klan and all that sort of thing. But they haven't been useful, and they've only been basically just a left-wing hack organization for decades now.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're getting from this indictment and what Todd Blanche is arguing is that they were literally taking donor money, laundering that money, and then funneling groups, including the KKK.
Yeah. Go figure.
Is that not one of the most bizarre things that I've ever said on this radio show? And I've said some weird stuff.
He's got a fair point there, folks.
Yeah.
Let's create the hate so we can fight it.
Well, that's what's so bizarre, because I'm reading the actual justice.gov posting of the report, and it is directly accusing them of not only funding or trying to interact with them, but actually giving them targets to commit basically hate crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, then, if they are found guilty of this, do they then have to list themselves on their own site as a hate group?
Well, that's only if it gets uncovered. But yeah, talk about like astroturfing of the highest order.
Right.
I mean, I haven't had a chance to read the indictment yet. Believe me, I plan to. It's not something that I saw coming, but it kind of makes things make a lot more sense, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So, word for word, this report saying that the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, had field sources who were members of online leadership chat groups that planned the Unite the Right rally event. It also, the person on behalf of the SPLC made racist postings under the supervision and helped coordinate transportation to the event for several attendees. And then it goes on later to talk about
We're talking Charlottesville.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The infamous Unite the Right rally that spurred Joe Biden to supposedly run for president.
And just to give a quick summary, it's talking about them doing similar things with the Aryan Brotherhood, which is a neo-Nazi prison gang, with the Ku Klux Klan, with the American Nazi Party. So these groups, they are quite literally paying people to go and orchestrate and coordinate events or targeted racial attacks on people.
And you may say, okay, this makes no sense unless it's maybe the Nazis really are only big enough to have an annual meeting in the Denny's back corner table. We'd better create a bigger threat or the illusion of a bigger threat. Listen, Nazis are bad. Okay. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But we've eradicated them from our culture. So is this a matter of we better keep them on a lifeline so that we can raise money to fight them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does make sense. It makes dollars and cents is what it makes. So you've got the funding, the donations coming in and funding the group. The group has to justify its existence. So it better scare up some of the bad guys so it can be continuing to fight the fight and bring in the money. And the bad guys aren't going to care if you're giving them funneling the money to them. You want to fund us to go have a rally? Sure. Yeah. Why not? You see this like in a lot of different fields. When you think about it. You know, you need to perpetuate your existence. So, for instance, trying to solve the homelessness crisis. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of groups out there that are supposedly trying to solve the crisis, but if they solve the crisis, then they cease to exist.
Yeah.
I've even seen this raised in the medical field. What happens if you cure cancer?
There's tens or hundreds of thousands of people suddenly have to reevaluate their work and go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a lot of money that dries up all of a sudden. Yeah. So, I'm not saying that you see this in every field, but you see it in a lot of fields. But I didn't peg the SPLC for one of them, and yet here we are.
Right. And what's his name? Morris whatever. I don't think he's still with them, is he? The guy that founded the whole thing?
I have no idea.
About as crooked as you get. He was with them for years, like decades, going back to like the 80s. But yeah, in this case here, the SPLC giving gift cards like you would buy at the pharmacy to the Klan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we're used to thinking of it in terms of, okay, we're going to like bus people in to be part of our rally and be in support of what we want. And that, okay, fighting the bad guys, fighting racism.
Whatever, yeah.
But we're going to create the racism first so that you have something to fight against. What an interesting concept.
That's the thing that gets to me is it would be one thing if it was we were paying to have meetings with these hateful leaders to try to discuss ways for them to be less hateful or bribe them to stop targeting and harassing people. And it's the exact opposite of that.
Right,
It's
do
we are
more of
going-
that.
Do here, yeah. Have a nice dinner, and by the way, we want you to go terrorize those minorities over there so we can swoop in and say we're against terrorizing minorities.
Right. And of course, the SPLC their statement is they're denying all of the accusations and everything. We're going to hear from Todd Blanche in the news dump that's coming here in about 20 minutes or so. But this, the bigger underlying thing is if this is proven to be true,
and that's an if,
then how many other left-wing activist groups are connected or could get caught up in a dragnet of looking at similar tactics?
Does make you wonder.
Yes.
Now, while we're wondering for that, I want to know, Mike, do you know what day it is?
Today would be
Earth Day.
Oh, Earth Day, yes.
Threw curveball at you.
You got me. Normally I hit curveballs.
Well, it's also Bump Day, which is a day where we call for your 80s bump music requests for Flashback Friday, this week's theme. There are some amazing songs from the 80s that I'm certain that even 80s music haters would have to concede are just too good to ignore. They just have not heard them yet. So I want, what are your 80s? It doesn't have to be a hit, any genre, but what are the good songs from the 80s that even 80s haters would like?
It's just another war. Just another family torn. It's just another kill.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm First Alert 4 meteorologist Chance Gotch, and we're going to continue to track a warm afternoon. How about 81 degrees as the day continues on, starting towards the lower 60s. Mostly sunny skies, then into Thursday, partly sunny, a high of 84. A little bit breezier with wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. As we head late Thursday night into Friday morning, some scattered showers and storms, then the possibility of a few isolated stronger storms as we head towards Friday evening. That'll look to clear by Saturday, high of 76 degrees. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
PRI Global now has Prismatic, an AI-driven platform that can help you and your business, especially in construction. Simplify your operations, secure data, modernize your business from the cloud up. Visit PRIGlobal.com. Innovation with talent and technology. People, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. Check them out. PRIGlobal.com. PRIGlobal.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit Vincent'sJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
When your nation is involved in a war and you disagree on what the nation is doing, you can openly criticize the leaders. At least you can in this country. Now, what do you think would happen if you dare question the leadership inside Iran? Not hard to imagine, is it? You, possibly your family, friends, even pets disappear, as in dead. Yet in this nation, we allow dissenting voices. But at what point does dissent become treasonous? Now, that's a serious escalation. I have my opinion on when that escalation is valid. You might agree with me or not. That's your right. We're allowed to have our views without being hung. I do have issues with a Connecticut senator saying it's awesome that almost 30 Iranian ships got through our blockade. I do have issues with the California Congressman Ro Khanna, who says he believes Iran more than he does Trump. I do have issues with MSN Now anchor Rachel Madcow saying that we need Iranian mullahs to fact-check Trump. And those statements, while not legally qualifying as treasonous, in my heart, they are. What about you?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
A new game day favorite is coming to Busch Stadium on Saturday, April 25th, when the Cardinals host the Seattle Mariners.
That day, fans take home a Victory Blue Cardinals crewneck sweatshirt presented by Purina, a light and easy style that's perfect for spring and designed to fit right into your everyday wardrobe. Available in medium and extra large while supplies last. A limited look you'll want to wear again and again. Tickets and info at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Jose Fermin. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
Every Sunday home game is a kids' Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fredbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family-favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
With all of the celebrations, anniversaries, and holidays coming up over the next few months, where are you going to go to get that special something for the special people in your life? Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, of course. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, found 24/7 at wowdiamonds.com. Tim Jones here to tell you all about Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Richard Newsteader and his team serving our region since 1961 with awesome, honest jewelry solutions. They've got everything from diamonds to wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, pendants, earrings, and so much more. You can find them 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. That's Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile.
So when you're mobile, stay mobile.
Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you
Wherever you go.
Download the NewsTalk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
Okay, so did Democrats just by a narrow margin just set themselves up to win the gerrymandering battle and the midterm elections overall? So let's talk about the ripple effect of Virginia's vote that happened last night. We're now joined by Teri Christoph from RedState. And by the way, Teri, we've been doing something all morning long here because it's Earth Day, of course, and we want to celebrate. And so what I've been doing is looking at some of the ways that famous people that we're supposed to look up to are celebrating Earth Day. So let me pause for just a second and beg your pardon for this just a second. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, very environmentally conscious people, as we know.
Totally.
Yeah, it turns out that they are going to be recycling their old body parts when they put new ones in.
Oh, that's thoughtful. I thought you were going to go with the box wine route.
No, it's that's how they're celebrating Earth Day as an example to the rest of us.
Very, very thoughtful.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Let's go to the bigger thing here. All right. So Teri Christoph, RedState.com here. All right. The vote in Virginia, I honestly not following Virginia politics the way that you do by any stretch. I did not know how this vote was going to turn out. Turns out this was close, but it looks like it was a clear win for the Democrats. And so the voters, as I understand it, Teri, did not say yes to that specific map that we've been seeing all over the news. They said yes to allowing the assembly to enact that map or something similar. What is the status of it right now?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. What the voters approved yesterday, and I do live in Virginia, so I follow it very closely. What they approved is a new state constitutional amendment, which now gives the power to the state legislature, to the lawmakers to draw congressional, not just congressional, but to our state legislative boundary. So stay tuned on that one. So that's what they approved, which overrides an amendment that we passed just 60 years ago that established a bipartisan commission to do the redistricting. So now, of course, the Democrats control everything here in Virginia. So the map that they want is going to happen now because this new amendment gives them the power to do that.
Teri, good morning. I know it was a late night for you. We were, of course, in communication over this. And, I kind of had a feeling how this vote was going to turn out, but I also, was gratified to see that it was as close as it was, actually. The fight's not over, though. As you pointed out in your article regarding the results, there are some ongoing court battles regarding this. What's the status of those court battles?
Yeah, there are. And before I say that, what I would like to say about the vote, because it's really, I think when all the votes are counted, it's going to be about a +2.5 percentage point win, which is amazingly close, and which points out the absurdity of this new congressional map when half the state just voted against this. Half the state is conservative. Half the state is swinging hard to the right. And yet the Democrats are going to end up controlling 90% of the congressional seats. So I think the results last night show the absurdity of this whole thing. But yes, there have been, and these actually, the frustrating part about these legal challenges is that they started months ago. They started way before the referendum, and the Supreme Court of Virginia decided to not do anything until after the referendum. And at this point, I have no confidence that they're going to do anything, but there's a couple different angles that the lawsuits take. Some of it's the language of the amendment, which talks about fairness, and people think that is the way that it was worded was not right, and that could be challenged. But I think the real big challenge is how they did this. The Democrats, they weren't talking about doing any redistricting until about October of last year. And of course, we had a big governor's election last year, which did not go very well, in my opinion. And what they were supposed to do, they were in a special session. Our session is normally the beginning of the year. This was October. They were in a special session that was continued from the previous year. During this is when they started to get on this gerrymandering kick. And the laws say that they have to give voters a 90-day notice that they're going to put this referendum forward. They put it forward on about November 1st, and the election for governor was November 3rd. They didn't give 90 days notice to voters that this was going to be happening, that they were going to have this referendum about a new amendment. So that's really, I think, where we have a chance of seeing it overturned. But again, in these days and age, the judges, they don't seem to be going conservatives' way a lot on these kinds of things. So I did see former Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli laid out beautifully what some of these legal arguments are going to be, and he says it's going to move fast, that we could see action this week. So yeah, there will be action.
Yeah, there's a time-sensitive element because you got the midterms right around the corner here. We're visiting with Teri, Christoph from Virginia right now. So what I'm hearing you say is it's not so much challenging, obviously, the text of the constitutional amendment that the voters passed, because that's going to reign supreme over state law anywhere in the country, but it's the process of putting the election on the ballot. And if that's declared invalid, then you don't have to deal with the text of the constitutional amendment.
Exactly.
Am I hearing that somewhat correctly?
Exactly. They broke a lot of their own laws to get this referendum that happened yesterday. They broke a lot of laws, and then the Democrats are trying to retroactively change laws back to 1970 to make it look like they didn't break any laws by not giving voters enough notice about this last year. So if you want to know what the Democrat Party is all about, just watch everything they do in Virginia. They have unchecked power, and they will just cheat, lie, steal, change things, and there's nothing apparently we can do about it. And it doesn't seem, and one of the big frustrations of conservatives in Virginia right now is the lack of support from nationally from the Republicans. They just did nothing to help on this effort. They just did nothing. They gave no money. We were outspent hugely by the Obamas and everybody coming in here and pouring money into it for the yes side. So there's a ton of frustration going on right now, and I don't know where this goes.
Well, it's understandable. Yeah, the RNC was nowhere to be found in relation to this, and I can't really wrap my brain around that.
Maybe they need a good relationship with Speaker Jeffries.
Yeah, maybe that'll wake them up. Oof.
They have plenty of money, so it wasn't a money issue. So there's some sick people today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Teri, I don't know. This might be super granular, but in terms of the upcoming, primaries and election, we're in late April. Mm-hmm. And this is all still kind of coming together and still up in the air. What effect, if any, is this having on, the primaries there in Virginia for the midterms?
Well, what I suspect is that despite what happens in the courts or anything that's ongoing on that judicial part, that the Democrats are they're in a special session right now because they don't have a budget. They're going to pass, because this amendment passed, they're going to pass this amendment. They're going to pass the redistricting, these new maps that give them the 10-1 advantage over Republicans. Spanberger's going to sign it. It's all going to happen. They're not even going to act like they're not even going to be worried about what happens legally. They're going to go ahead with these primaries. It could get interesting, though, in the primaries. I mean, at least for amusement's sake, is that there are about 500,000 different Democrats running for all of these seats because they were just like greedy, like, yeah, we're making all these seats for ourselves and we're all going to run for them. So it could get amusing to watch them kind of, battle and bruise each other, because there's a few of these new districts, if we do have them, where there's like Terry McAuliffe's wife is running for, everybody's running for them. So they're just going to it's going to be, I think, good entertainment for us to watch that, because there's very few silver linings this morning. So that's one of them.
All right. Of course, and you wrote about this at RedState, and people want to connect with you. Do you want to, guide questions for you, or just want to follow you on social media? What's the way to do it?
Oh, yeah, definitely just go over to RedState. And I write a lot, and, feel free to become a member and leave comments. And I'll be writing a lot more about Virginia. So if people are particularly interested in how things progress here, RedState's your place. Go over there.
Thanks, Teri.
Thanks, Teri.
Thank you.
We have a big event coming up next month, the Missouri Pro-Life Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet, and the keynote speaker for that is going to be one Riley Gaines, who, by the way, is going to be talking with us tomorrow at, 8:05?
8:05, yep.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to be talking with Miss Riley Gaines, and I'm looking forward to what she has to say about this great event.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
They were drinking water out of the toilet.
On NewsTalk-STL.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Very active, very fun chat box. Cinderfer.
Hi, Cinderfer.
Hey, how you doing? She says, yo, Vic, baby. Verbatim, yo, Vic, baby. With an exclamation point. How else are you supposed to read that? I was driving, had to pull over to comment. I was going to say how sexy the beard is, but I'm afraid of your wife.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I would be.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Missouri's laws are clear. Unregulated gaming devices are illegal. Companies have been telling businesses that gray market machines are legal. That's wrong. Don't be scammed. If you have these devices at your business, you could be subject to criminal and civil penalties. Unplug and remove these devices today.
If you've been approached to host illegal gaming machines, call now. 800-523-1434 or visit ago.mo.gov. Sponsored by the Attorney General's Office.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
All right, Virginia voters changed the political landscape in yesterday's vote. We'll give you the basic bullet points. We just talked to Teri Christoph about that, which, by the way, that's going to be up on our podcast here in just a little bit as well. There's a lot of good information in there on that.
Yep.
Missouri voters are going to have the final say on the state income tax. Cardinals continue to surprise everybody. And in the spirit of Earth Day, we've been throughout the day talking about how some famous people are honoring Earth Day. And so I read about this one in The Atlantic, so it's got to be true.
Oh, okay, for
Yes.
sure.
So
Such a credible outlet.
The Atlantic is reporting that Kash Patel is going to recycle his wild turkey empties.
Oh.
Okay, let's go ahead and do a news dump here.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the morning news dump.
I mean, it's in the Atlantic. It's got to be
It's
true.
got to be true. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. President Trump has agreed to extend the ceasefire with Iran.
The president says the United States is extending the ceasefire at the request of Pakistani officials. He writes on social media that the U.S. military will not attack Iran as its leaders come up with a unified proposal to end the war. In the meantime, however, the president says the U.S. will continue its blockade of all Iranian ports. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And of course, this is a big shift from what he was saying about 48 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
As in, we're basically going to bomb the whole place.
Right.
And
A lot of moving parts to this.
Yeah. He said, do it or else I'm going to bomb the whole place. And Iran went, no. And so the answer now is, okay, we're going to keep the ceasefire going. So we'll see where it goes from here. Yeah. Okay. It is up to the voters now in the Show Me State. Missouri House approves the proposal to put an income tax elimination constitutional amendment on the ballot later this year. It's already been approved by the state Senate. It does not require the governor's signature, although Governor Kehoe does support the plan. If approved by the voters in the referendum, and that could be August, it could be November, we're not quite sure yet. But if it's approved, then state lawmakers will be tasked with a constitutional order to phase out the income tax. Okay? Republican lawmakers say a combination of reducing spending and expanding sales taxes is how that's going to be accomplished. And if you've got more questions about what that plan would look like, then you can join us a week from tomorrow at the Road to Zero Town Hall meeting. Go to newstalkstl.com and you can find the link to RSVP for free and come to that event. Okay, here are the basics bullet points of what we just talked to Teri Christoph about here. Democrats could pick up as many as 4 seats in the U.S. House this November because of Virginia's redistricting. Voters there narrowly approved a referendum giving the Democratic-heavy General Assembly the green light to redraw the district maps before the midterms. Now, that's likely to take the state's U.S. House delegation from 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans, where it is now basically, to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. And so we were doing some of the math going through the last 2-3 years of all the states that have done gerrymandering, both in favor of Democrats and gerrymandering in favor of Republicans. And it looks like when you shake it all out, the Democrats are going to come out ahead by about 5 votes, 4 or 5 votes, something like that.
It could very well, yeah.
Texas and Missouri and California and Virginia and Maryland and New York and Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what it looks like this whole game is going to end up being.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how that looks here. Okay, St. Charles residents in the city's first ward have a new city councilman after this name was picked in a random drawing. And that's what they did, a random drawing. And here's what happened.
It's Chris Kyle.
All right, and just like that, a new city council member is taking office in St. Charles City after a tie in the April election for the Ward 1 seat. That tiebreaker coming after these 2 men both got 572 votes to be the council member for Ward 1. The draw making Chris Kyle the winner over incumbent Bill Otto. Kyle was later sworn in with the other elected council members.
That is KMOV's Corey Stark with that story.
I still say it should have been settled by triathlon or something.
Like
laser tag, something.
Beats his strength, yes.
Yeah. All right. This is something that, again, just is so bizarre. A grand jury in the Middle District of Alabama indicting the Southern Poverty Law Center on 11 counts of financial fraud.
Mm-hmm.
The indictment says the groups paid $3 million to organizations, including the Ku Klux Klan, through a system of fake bank accounts and prepaid cards, which is another way of saying money laundering.
Yeah.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche was on the Ingram Angle on Fox last night saying the Biden administration was actually investigating this and then dropped the investigation.
We know that this investigation was open during the Biden administration and then mysteriously closed. I really don't have any information about why it was closed. And then we started again last year, the FBI did, working with the U.S. Attorney in Alabama.
And the SBLC basically says, didn't do it, which is all you can say at this point.
2 things come to mind real quick. First of all, the KKK is able to bank. I guess someone banks.
Well,
don't.
unless it's like just all the prepaid cards or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
you know.
I mean, but secondly, notice this was brought in the Middle District of Alabama.
I did.
So that's going to be, a big factor here. This isn't something that was brought, for instance, in a very like left-leaning jurisdiction like D.C.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly. Okay. Couple things in sports here. St. Louis native Joe Buck, who, regardless of what team you cheer for, probably hates your favorite team. Just saying. Well, he's got a new side gig.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's now going to be the host of a new Jeopardy spinoff game show called ESPN Jeopardy.
Oh.
Guess where this is going to be broadcast?
From St. Louis?
Well, no. I mean, just like the network, yeah.
I don't know.
So ESPN Jeopardy is going to be broadcast on what?
I don't know.
I'm
stumped.
Couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, not ESPN.
I felt like there was like a trick question
It was
there.
a trick question.
But I didn't
It's
know.
literally called ESPN Jeopardy, but it's going to be broadcast on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Well, they're all like owned by the same
I
parent
know,
company.
I'm just saying. The show's going to have the same format as the namesake game show, but it's obviously going to be on all sports topics. No date yet for the show's premiere. Joe Buck went to Country Day in St. Louis here. And by the way, trivia question, Joe Buck was actually one of the fill-in hosts for Jeopardy back in the day right after Alex Trebek died for, I think, a week.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, just a very short-term one there. Okay, the Cardinals even up the series with the Marlins, picking up a 5-3 win in Miami. Nathan Church with a 2-run home run. Dustin May gets the win. He went 5 1/3 innings, giving up only 1 earned run. The series wraps up today. It's a day game. First pitch for this one is at 11:10 our time this morning. Redbirds are now tied with the Cubs for second place in the NL Central. They are both a game and a half behind the Reds. The entire NL Central from first place to last place is only 2.5 games.
That's pretty close.
It's a very, very
Pretty
close
tight.
one. Battlehawks make a rare UFL trade. Offensive tackle Corey Stewart traded to the Dallas Renegades in exchange for quarterback Luis Perez, who will move into the backup role this week. Perez led the UFL in passing yards the last 2 seasons.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
I'm in my late 60s. My husband died a few years ago. He did all of our taxes. I sold a piece of property last year, and I forgot to claim the proceeds of the sale. Next thing I know, I got a letter from the IRS telling me that I owe over $50,000. Now I have a huge tax problem. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I knew who to call.
If you sold property in the last calendar year or didn't claim all of your part-time or even retirement income, you could be in big trouble with the IRS. Call first before they send you a letter. If you've already got a letter, call. We'll help you file years of past tax returns and save you time and money. So call the tax doctor. The call is confidential and free.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason.
A close vote in the Old Dominion, a vote with national implications.
Voters in Virginia have approved a congressional redistricting plan that could help Democrats win up to 4 additional U.S. House seats in this year's midterm elections.
We don't have the population of Northern Virginia.
Ruth Ann McCartney voted in South Hill.
As a rural area, we just need to be heard.
She was a no.
I just want to be even.
Tangerine Gost voted yes.
Democrats and Republicans. To me, they're going to do what they want to do anyway.
Joanne Lucy's theory?
I'm wondering if maybe it's just because of Trump.
But their votes may not be the final say. The question still faces legal challenges, including before the state Supreme Court. I'm Ben Thomas.
And Virginia's Republican leaders, including former Governor Glenn Youngkin, accuse the Democrats of advancing an unconstitutional process that will disenfranchise millions of Virginians. Sounds like the Iranians are severely testing President Trump's patience.
Iran opened fire on a container ship in the Strait on Wednesday morning, and a second was attacked a short time later, according to the British military's United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Centre. Iranian state television then reported that the ships were in the Revolutionary Guard's custody and were being taken to Iran.
Correspondent Charles de Ledesma. Ukraine's foreign minister says Kiev is pushing for direct talks between President Zelensky and Russian President Putin. In the meantime, the war drags on. Russian authorities say a Ukrainian drone strike in Russia demolished a residential building, killing a woman and a child. Ukraine has also developed long-range drones targeting Russia's military infrastructure. Watching Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are up 309 points. The NASDAQ futures ahead 210. S&P futures better by 44 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're hearing my voice, chances are you're either worried about a parent living alone or you are that parent. And you know your family worries about you too. Either way, there's a company that finally got senior safety right. Connected Caregiver. Connected Caregiver is everything you knew about alert devices, fall detection, emergency button, GPS, reimagined for today. There's a small wearable that alerts your family's phone the moment something happens. Inside your home, discrete sensors, no cameras, no microphones, just motion sensors have you covered even when you're not wearing it. No movement for hours, your loved ones will know. For the kids, you go from hoping everything's okay to knowing it is. And for you, you stay in your home on your terms while giving your precious family the peace of mind they've been asking for. That's not losing independence, that's keeping it. Visit ccgoffer.com to see if you qualify for a free device. It takes 2 minutes. That's ccgoffer.com, ccgoffer.com. Do it today.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. On First Alert 4, meteorologist Chance Gotch, and we're going to continue to track a warm afternoon. How about 81 degrees as the day continues on, starting towards the lower 60s. Mostly sunny skies, then into Thursday, partly sunny, a high of 84. A little bit breezier with wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. As we head late Thursday night into Friday morning, some scattered showers and storms, and the possibility of a few isolated stronger storms as we head towards Friday evening. That'll look to clear by Saturday, high of 76 degrees. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Tim Jones here from my great friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. How do I know? Simply put, they've helped me on many occasions. Here's another solution to your everyday aches and pains. The Studio Health and Wellness Center. Services include Pilates and yoga, both with certified instructors. I can also highly recommend the massage therapy, which is not an indulgence. It's a proven method of healing and restoration. Trust my friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka. CChiropractic.com. That's CChiropractic.com.
When the storm hits and a tree comes down, you need someone you can trust right now. OLI Outdoor Services in Godfrey is on call 24/7 for emergency tree removal, trimming, stump grinding, and land clearing. Serving Illinois and Missouri with licensed, insured professionals and over 200 years of combined experience. Tree removal starting at just $2.99. Free estimates, plus financing. Visit OLIOutdoorServices.com or call 1-888-5-SAWING. Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get Up St. Louis.
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, Democrats lose another vote in Congress as another corrupt Congress critter quits before the Ethics Committee could officially have their say.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So, however, Democrats are likely to pick up multiple seats this year after last night's votes in Virginia. And Congress critters are just like politically dropping like flies.
It's like you pull up a couch cushion, a bunch of roaches run out.
The
That's
Congress
what it feels
critters
like
run everywhere.
right now.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Chris Arps joins us right now, obviously, from our afternoon show. And, Chris, I need to beg your pardon for just a moment because one of the things we're doing on this Earth Day is we are looking to the people that we're told we need to look up to see how they're celebrating Earth Day. So indulge me. I've got a list I've been doing all morning long, okay? Okay, so, for instance, we've already talked about Tiger Woods. He's going to get his next DUI today driving a Prius to celebrate Earth Day. And also, here's the new one here. Joe Biden, obviously a big proponent of Earth Day, he's going to switch to cloth diapers today. There it is. Because he cares, Chris. All right. Okay.
Let me tell you how I'm going to celebrate Earth Day. I'm going to go out and cut my grass with a gas-powered mower, and then I'm probably going to barbecue and put more carbon into the air. That's how I'm going to celebrate.
And what time's lunch?
At noon.
Okay. See you then. All right. Let Becky know I'm on my way. Okay. So let's talk about what's going on here. Now, the latest member of Congress to bite the dust politically, Representative Sheila Sherfilis McCormick, and I probably completely butchered her name, but it doesn't matter because she's a nobody now. But she's the latest Congress critter to bail out literally hours before the Ethics Committee could say, hey, you're another louse in Congress. Defrauding the COVID programs of millions of dollars, held on as long as she could. It almost seems like the only truly bipartisan thing right now are unethical people getting run out of Congress, Chris.
I agree. I think you're right. We talked about this yesterday with Dr. Randy Tober. We've had 4 Congress critters, as you guys say, drop in the last 2 weeks. But, those are the ones that got caught. I bet you if you really did some investigations of the 435 members in Congress, you'd find much more malfeasance than that. But Sherfilis McCormick, boy, she is a piece of work. She stole $5 million from a FEMA pandemic account to her company. The government made an error and sent her $5 million, I think, instead of like $50,000. And instead of doing the right thing and letting the government know, she took that money and bought a diamond ring. She used that money to fund her congressional campaign, and now she's going to be facing federal charges because of that. The next in line, probably, and he's putting up a fight, is Corey Mills of Florida. I don't think he's going to go quiet in the night. He has retaliated by filing an expulsion resolution against Nancy Mace because she filed one against him. So
yeah, Chris, let me jump in on that because I saw that headline this morning, but I haven't had a chance to read the story from your colleagues at Newsmax. What is it that he's arguing she should face expulsion? I mean, you can like Nancy Mace or not like Nancy Mace, but what is it that he's arguing she should face expulsion over other than she's being mean to me?
If you remember, she had an incident at the airport in South Carolina. It was one of those, do you know who I am type of incident.
Right.
Where she didn't feel that she was getting the proper treatment from TSA. And, Congress people get they what do they call that? When people, they usher them through.
Yeah.
They get tours through the airport and they don't have to go through the lines and all that. And apparently they didn't have time for that year. And she pulled a do you know who I am type of deal and basically had a meltdown in the airport, really embarrassed herself and her staff and the Congress. And so I guess he feels that's on the same level of the charges that that are being leveled against him.
Yeah, so at this point, let's review the ticker tape for the last even just few weeks. Eric Swalwell, Tony Gonzalez, gone. Now we've got, how did we say the last name?
Sherfilis
McCormick, gone. Mills, maybe, because it looks like they've got the goods on him as well. I think you're right, Chris, in that, these are just the ones who are getting caught or who were so egregious that it rose above the typical level of malfeasance on there. So when we talk about the swamp and, President Trump, kind of popularized that during his first run for president, we're thinking of the political corruption. We're thinking about the power. We're thinking about the cronyism and all that. But are we also, or should we also be looking at just what this either does to people's personal behavior and character, or that it's attracting people of this low level of personal character? And we have this sort of problem because you can say, listen, what you do off the clock is your business. I'm pretty libertarian. I agree as well. But it also reflects the type of person you're going to be at your job.
Mike, I think it's a little bit of both. I think these people are already, you have to question their character before they come into Congress. And then I think once they get into Congress and they start getting the pen on their lapel and they start being called the honorable, and they get all of these special perks, I think think that they become invincible and they can do just about anything that they want. The Politico did an expose on Swalwell over the weekend, and it spelled out exactly that. I mean, he was already kind of full of himself before he came in Congress, but after that, he really just got ridiculous. I mean, they gave an example of when he and his staff were driving to the airport, that he was telling the woman, don't worry about traffic laws, telling the aide, don't worry about traffic laws, you need to speed, I need to get to the airport on time. And the aide was saying, I got like 9 or 10 tickets because of this guy, because he was, saying that nothing's going to happen to me, get me to the airport on time. Laws don't apply to me. So I think once you have a person that already has character flaws and then you put him to a position like that, it just gets worse.
Yeah. All right. So where do we go from here, Chris? Then I want to ask you about the effect of what happened in Virginia last night as well. But when it comes to shining the light and the disinfectant on Congress, we've done this before. This is nothing new. I mean, so it's not like we know that there are hypocrites and scoundrels in Congress. Is this just a moment in kind of morally indignant right now, and it's just going to go back to normal? Or is there a possibility that something actually changes?
I think it's a possibility that things will change. I mean, there's only been 6 people that have been expelled from Congress in the 250 years of our country. You've got in 2 weeks 4 people that have resigned. People are already apathetic about their government and think that the people that are elected are all about themselves. I think you're going to see more of a spotlight on it. I mean, there's an incident of AOC, not AOC, Ilhan Omar.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read about this?
Yeah, I did.
She has amended her tax reforms, so she is not worth $3 to $6 million now. She's saying she's worth about $90,000. How you make a mistake like that, I don't know.
I know
plenty.
I know. She learned. She took her math classes at the Leering Center in Minnesota.
I guess. Yeah, exactly. And we've heard all type of reports where people come into Congress with very modest means, and in a relatively short period of time, either they're investing geniuses or something else. They're trading on insider trading, and they're becoming multimillionaires in a relatively short period of time. And I think the public is becoming more and more aware of that situation.
All right, the voice. That's Chris Arps from our afternoon show, and of course doing commentary regularly on Newsmax television. All right, last couple minutes we've got here, Chris. Virginia, big vote last night. Should we start practicing and getting used to saying Speaker Jeffries after the next midterm elections, in part because Virginia, did they just put the Democrats over or in a position to be over the top in the midterms, or is this still up in the air? Do the Republicans have a path to victory to hold on to the House?
Well, I think we could have almost been saying that before this vote in Virginia. That's such a razor-thin majority. And the history, Mike, whenever the president's party is in power, they usually lose seats in the House. So I think that was already there. There's still hope. The Democrats now have a 10-9 lead in the redistricting so far, but there's still hope. Florida, if they go ahead with their redistricting, they could Republicans could pick up 2 to 4 seats in Florida. And remember, there is a case pending before the Supreme Court regarding kind of loosening the 1965 Voting Rights Act. If the justices make a ruling on that pretty soon here, that could net 3 to 6 seats in some of these southern states if it's done early enough. So all hope is not lost, but I think the thought that Republicans were going to win big with this redistricting, that's kind of faded away, especially after last night.
Yeah, Chris, in the last minute or so we've got here, is it just naive of me at this point to say, you know what, maybe we should just go back to districting based on where people are and let people pick their representatives as opposed to politicians picking their voters?
I think the horses are already out of the barn on that one, Mike. I think what we saw last night and what we've seen this year is going to be the norm.
Oh man, which is awful. Which basically means, you know, he who wins gets to gerrymander to pad their thing, whether it's Republican or Democrat. And we're just saying a gerrymandering battle. That's all it is. Republican states are gerrymandering for them. Democrat states are gerrymandering for them. And who's getting lost? Well, we the people.
And then what you're going to have in the long run is just more and more partisan, because there's not going to be any middle-of-the-road type districts. It's just going to be strictly hard right, hard left districts.
Yeah. All right. And Chris, give us a preview. Anything coming up this afternoon that we need to be kind of on our radar?
Yeah, Wednesdays we have our legal eagle, Zach Smith from the Heritage Foundation. We'll probably talk to him about this voting rights law that could be overturned in certain respects, and see how that affects last night's redistricting.
All right, Chris, we'll be listening for that. Talk to you again soon, my friend.
Yeah, one more. We've got Congressman Bob Livingston, former Congressman Bob Livingston, has written a book, and we're going to have him on the show as well.
Oh, great. Is he coming to lunch too?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay. All right.
Louisiana.
That's just more for me.
Eating crawfish.
That's just more for me. Barbecue. All right, talk to you soon.
All right, my friend. Thanks.
All right, Susie mentioned this a little bit ago. Just under 24 hours from right now, 8:05 on Thursday, the one, the only Riley Gaines is going to be on Mike Ferguson in the morning. She's the keynote speaker at the Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet that's coming up next month, and we're going to get a preview of what she has to say. And also, she's got a very, very personal reason to be very pro-life and speak up against the pro-abortion forces, because she's now a mom. And also, obviously, Amendment 3, the good Amendment 3 that's on the ballot this year, addresses the entire gender mutilation thing as well. So we're going to talk to Riley Gaines at 8:04, 8:05 tomorrow right here on the show.
It's not pleasant to hear it, but Missouri is falling behind in its spending of state tax dollars, education, and health care. But there are ways to get Missouri moving forward again and produce a better life for all of us. That's why we at the Show Me Institute put together a 2026 Missouri Blueprint, a roadmap on how the state can move to a brighter future. The blueprint covers policy ideas from taxes to government transparency, from education to health care and budget reform. Let's allow students to attend the school of their choice. Let's adopt new proven methods to help the many school kids who can barely read. Let's limit state spending growth for Missouri's long-term financial stability. And let's invest in future needs with more nuclear energy. Why not common sense reforms to make things better for all Missourians? Check out our 2026 Missouri Blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Let's get back to all this madcap mayhem with Mike Ferguson in the morning. But don't forget, stick around for Jones and Arps every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m.
My head's still spinning on this story a little bit. Southern Poverty Law Center accused of being in cahoots with the Klan.
Wow.
What?
If ever there were two groups that were founded for extremely different reasons you would never expect to have any positive overlapping with.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that here in just a second. It's 8:20 right now. I think we got time for one more look at famous people setting the example for how to celebrate Earth Day.
Oh.
Okay, now I don't really know much about this person. Post Malone is pretty famous, though, right?
Yeah, he's famous.
He's really famous. Okay, so I don't know a lot about him, so maybe this is going to make more sense to you than it is to me when I was looking through ways that famous people, celebrity influencers, because if they're famous, then clearly there's somebody we should look up to.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Okay, so I'm told that to celebrate Earth Day, Post Malone is going to install a new low-flow head on his shower that he's never going to use anyway.
I actually do get that reference.
Okay.
Yes.
Just
I'm glad photos don't have you can't smell photos because if you look at him, he looks like a desk at a detention center.
Okay, got it. All right, so the Southern Poverty Law Center has been indicted by a federal grand jury and accused of funneling money to actual hate groups. Now, remember, I'm talking about hate groups as we would all understand them. I'm not talking about how the SPLC would define them, because remember, this would be a hate media outlet, according to the SPLC. You know, this, if you are pro-life, if you are pro-homeschool, if you are anti-DEI, if you are anti-so-called trans, if you are Orthodox Catholic, if you are Orthodox Christian, like the Family Research Center, they consider all of those groups and entities hate groups. Now, when the Southern Poverty Law Center was first founded, and this goes back to correlation literally from the civil rights days, they really tried to fill a legitimate purpose, as in dealing with groups like the Klan, you know, dealing with groups like the neo-Nazis. I mean, so when they first started, there shouldn't have been any real objection, but they quickly got a taste of the money. They quickly got a taste of the political power. They quickly started swallowing the corruption that goes with it. And so for decades, they've been nothing but a left-wing hack organization whose purpose has been, who are the opponents of the fringe left? Who are the opponents of the Democratic Party? Your job is to now go convince people that they are hate groups.
Not to butcher the Star Wars quote too bad, but you were supposed to destroy them, not fund them.
Yes. And so what we have the accusations of, and this is so bizarre, is that the Department of Justice is accusing them. Well, they're accusing him, and apparently there's enough that the grand jury, decided to indict. Now, keep in mind, it's legal experts will tell you it's not that difficult to get indictments. But here's what's being alleged by the Department of Justice, is that essentially there was a multi-step money laundering scheme that took money from donors who were giving money to support this group's political activism and other activism. And then that money was being taken and laundered literally into the hands of the actual hate groups like neo-Nazis, like KKK, in order to fund their violence.
So from what I've read so far, it's not just like, hey, we will pay you to infiltrate this group and go undercover. They were making fake bank accounts to funnel money to sometimes the leaders of the chapters of these groups. So it's the people that would be the ones organizing and coming up with and planning all the stuff, and they were funding those people.
Right. And so you would say, why on earth would a group that purports itself to be anti-hate group? Now, again, Southern Poverty Law Centers is a group that we should have not taken them seriously for decades now.
Yeah.
But you're saying, let's assume that they're sticking to their mission. Why would they do this? Now, if they go take the money and say, we're going to go undercover and we're going to expose them, we're going to do investigative activism or investigative journalism. Okay. You know what? That's part of the marketplace. If you're not violating somebody else's actual rights, that's part of the marketplace. That's not what they were doing, though. What they're accused of doing is essentially saying, hey, here's some gasoline. Can you throw it on that fire so that we can go raise money on we're going to put the fire out? And that's what the accusation is.
Yeah, there's not enough supply of racism and hatred, so we need to up our demand to meet our demands. So let's go pay you and to try to maybe instigate some things, it sounds like. I mean, they were the Unite the Right rally, the Charlottesville thing with the tiki torches and the person that got hit by the car. They they are directly in this indictment. That's one of the serious things that they paid somebody that they were supervising them as well during the coordination and transportation of some of the people that were at that group.
Yeah, and this was one of those where I think like U-Haul trucks were like literally bringing in, ringers into that. And then I don't know if things got out of hand or if that was the plan for people to actually really get hurt, because that at the time, remember that did sting Republicans. That did sting the president. And now we're getting this information that says that may have been funded by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a left-wing hate group. I refer to them as a left-wing hate group. I mean, anytime you say, well, here's the Family Research Council, they're a hate group, which, by the way, ended up with some crazy guy going in there shooting, wounding the guy working the security desk at the front. When you say that, Catholics who oppose abortion are hate groups, that means the Southern Poverty Law Center, by any logical definition, is not just delusional, but it means they're the hate group.
Yeah, and with the Charlottesville thing, and part of what led to the escalation was Antifa antagonizers showing up and looking to provoke even more out of it. But then you start to wonder, how many times are these protests that get out of hand? Potentially, any organization like that, like how many more groups like SPLC are out there channeling in money, funding money, maybe have somebody that is willing to commit acts of violence or escalate things, paying them, saying, look, we can get you out of jail too. We can bond you out, maybe. I mean, that's not in this indictment.
If Kamala can do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
See, and here's the thing is that there probably were some fringe right racist elements out there who would have been completely ignored and would have been nothing but a bunch of losers who didn't even make the news. Well, in this case now, the whole thing blows up into something much bigger, and it still reverberates today. Now, here's the other question. How much play will this indictment get on CNN? How much will it get in the New York Times? How much is USA Today going to cover this? How much is the LA Times going to cover this? How much is the, Chicago Tribune going to cover this? So we're going to know about it here, and then we're going to go out into the wild and say, oh my gosh, can you believe the Southern Poverty Law Center indicted for literally funding the Klan? And most people in normal life are going to go, what are you talking about? They fight hate groups. They don't fund them, because they're not going to know outside of the niche of conservative media.
Well, and the other concerning thing is I'm already seeing comments on different platforms that are sticking up and trying to minimize the actions. It's like, well, it was just them paying these people that we've known for years that they pay people to infiltrate groups. That doesn't make it much better. It's
well, if you're infiltrating with the purpose of exposing or destroying, okay. I mean, we can debate where you're coming from, but that's a tactic in the marketplace.
Because hate groups like the Klan, like neo-Nazi groups, they are extremely hard to get out of once you're in. So I could potentially even make the case of, had it been somebody saying, look, I don't want this life anymore, I will be an informant for you to take down the group if you help me get out of the life.
I want to be able to buy the good can of baked beans, because I can't afford it here in my trailer.
I've only got 4 teeth left.
I'm going into every stereotype I can think of these type of losers with the neo-Nazi types.
But even and at that point, it would just be the fact that you are basically still money laundering at that point. But the egregious part, the thing that I think most people should be more mad about, that is being minimized right now, is that, again, in the indictment, it does not say random Billy Bob from the trailer park. These are people that are known to be either high-ranking or the actual considered by the DOJ as the leaders of these groups.
As in these groups, Southern Poverty Law Center and whatever leadership chapters you're talking about, as in they knew what was going on. This was a collusion, and it's not even that they're being charged with meeting with the hate groups. It's a matter of you solicited donations from people who are being told you're going to use it for this, and then you did the exact opposite with it. You defrauded your donors. That's what this is centered on.
And it's ridiculous. Now, assuming there is a conviction of the group,
something,
whatever the legal thing, I I think part of the judgment should be that they have to list themselves as a funder of hate groups or as a hate group enabler.
Right, put it on their
own
map.
website saying,
right.
"Yep, we do that," because it's just nobody in the right mind would ever think this would be okay to do.
Right, and Susie made an interesting analogy of this a little bit earlier when she said this would be the equivalent of, and I'm going to expand on what she said, a firefighter who's worried about getting laid off, so we really need more fires.
Yeah.
Becomes an arsonist at night in order to make sure that there's plenty of support for his day job as a firefighter.
That is exactly. It's like a paramedic showing up and beating people up so they can give more ambulance rides.
Look at this, like taking out their knee with a baseball bat, handing them a crutch, and go, "Thank God I was here to give you a crutch so you can get around."
She is not wrong. And you would not be wrong either if you were to bring us with you on your phone via the NewsTalkSTL app, because, sometimes I imagine people got some pretty interesting lives, very busy. They can't always be sitting in their car listening to the radio, but you can bring us along and still listen to these great conversations if you have the app, because if you've got a phone, you have a radio. That's the NewsTalkSTL app.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Always be yourself, unless you suck.
On NewsTalk-STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. On First Alert 4, meteorologist Chance Gotch, and we're going to continue to track a warm afternoon. How about 81 degrees as the day continues on, starting towards the lower 60s. Mostly sunny skies, then into Thursday, partly sunny, a high of 84. A little bit breezier with wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. As we head late Thursday night into Friday morning, some scattered showers and storms, then the possibility of a few isolated stronger storms as we head towards Friday evening. That'll look to clear by Saturday, high of 76 degrees. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
Fox News commentary with Craig Gutfeld. Next.
You didn't want to buy gold when prices were rising. Then you waited when gold pulled back. Now you're stuck in the middle, unsure what to do next. Speak with a precious metals specialist now at noblegoldinvestments.com. Get the answers you need to stop guessing and move forward with confidence. Their team makes it simple to gain real investor knowledge and insight. Stop trying to time the market. Start spending time in it. Don't let the market move without you. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Here's Greg Gutfeld.
I will defend Democrats because they are the opposition party, and you really only have one role: opposition. This is why when we talk about how politically divided we are, it's true, but it's also kind of baked in the system. You can't expect the Dems to embrace the Republicans when the Dems aren't in power. That's how it works. However, you do expect fierce opposition with a measure of responsibility. If there are two boxers in the ring, there's an agreement. One isn't going to enter the ring with a switchblade, but they've decided that Trump is Hitler. Therefore, you can suspend the rules. You can unleash lawfare. You can create hoaxes. You can involve foreign actors, and you can fly to other countries to trash the president because he's different. He's different.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Tired of settling for generic fishing gear? Say hello to Bullseye Bait and Tackle, O'Fallon's one-stop shop for serious anglers. Live bait, premium tackle, rods, reels, and an unbeatable selection of lures from top brands like Megabass, Zoom, and Berkley. Whether you're after bass, catfish, crappie, or bluegill, they've got the gear to help you land the big one. Plus, their expert team, led by Mark and Liz, provides rod and reel repair services. Bullseye Bait and Tackle, 266 Fort Zumwalt Square, or at bullseyebaitandtackle.net.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station.
This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
Big question that has generational impact with the answer, and that is, can we win back the education establishment from the Marxist left?
Ooh, it's going to be a battle to get that back.
That is a massive question because, and the quote has been attributed to many people over the years. I've heard it attributed to Lenin. I've heard it attributed to Marx. I've heard it attributed to a number of people. I don't really know who said it, but it was something along the lines of, he who controls the schools controls the next generation. And I'm sure somebody could drill down to say who actually said it first, but it's been attributed to a lot of different people. Well, there's a book out here called Woke and Weaponized: How Karl Marx Won the Battle for American Education and How We Can Win It Back. And it was written, co-authored by Robert Bortins, who joins us right now. And Robert, first of all, appreciate you being on the program here. I got to tell you, the pitch for the interview here, I was hooked on it when I looked at the cover of your book along with Alex Newman. And it's got this great big picture of Karl Marx's mug in a Stars and Stripes sport jacket on it. And if that doesn't show the dichotomy that is interwoven into the public education system, I don't know what does. But let's talk about that premise, in that so many people like to say, well, not my school, Robert. I mean, you know what? Public schools have problems. Yeah, the teachers are septum nose ring leftist, but you know what? My kid's learning how to count and stuff. So it's not happening here. I'm sure it's happening somewhere else. But we're talking about an establishment that's been completely captured across the country. How bad is the problem to the point where we're saying Karl Marx won?
Yeah, well, it started out in the 1950s with a guy named Horace Mann, who basically said that they were going to use the public schools to basically change the United States into a collectivist ideology. The Ford Foundation in the 80s was working with the Soviet Union before the fall to be able to successfully combine the United States with the Soviet Union by using their grant-making powers and transforming the public school system. And the Soviets themselves spent about 80% of their resources in the United States taking over things like the Columbia Teachers College and our textbook companies, so that you can have a great teacher and a great principal in your school, but the system itself is all been designed by Leninists or Marxists or collectivists, whatever term you want to use, in order to indoctrinate our kids. And that's how you get someone like Mondami elected in New York City. That's why 34% of kids can read at grade level, because they don't want entrepreneurs or people who can think for themselves. They want obedient workers to the upper class.
Now, Robert, you're not going to have in most classrooms, although I suspect there probably are some examples, fringe examples out there, somebody who's just going to come out and say, nobody's watching, I'm going to teach these kids the virtues of Marxism. I'm going to teach them the virtue of communism. That's probably happened somewhere. But for the most part, this is going to be more covert. What are some of the ways that parents who have kids or grandparents who have kids in these public schools, what do they need to look at and say, oh, that's a sign of that structure you just laid out? Here are those tacit ways that they are indoctrinating kids.
Well, that's what my book reveals, is it's all inherent into the system. So B.F. Skinner, who's a psychiatrist from the socialists, he's the one who designed classroom management. So you can have a teacher that is 100% aligned with your worldview as a Christian or as a conservative, but they use the same methods that they use to teach dogs, is the same methods that they teach teachers how to manage classrooms. And it's all about creating obedience to the state instead of love for your family, love for your country, and love for your your culture. And so what families need to be doing is they need to be, reading to their kids. They need to be teaching them to read. They need to be having conversations with them, because they set it up so it's inherent into the system. And that's why we say Karl Marx won, and that's what we do in the book. That's what we reveal in the book, is all of the things that they did inside of the system itself. So it didn't matter what was actually being taught in the classroom, but the system itself would be inherently draw kids in the next generation into this Marxist ideology. And they knew it was going to take generation after generation, but now we find ourselves there.
All right, where this is, the book is called Woke and Weaponized, written by Robert Bortins and Alex Newman, and we're talking with Robert Bortins right now. Okay, so should the end goal be replace the bad indoctrination with good indoctrination, or is this a matter of, in the meantime, because we got here over the course of several generations, I don't think we're going to fix it in a couple of years or within one generation overall. So is it a matter of the end goal is just changing what's being put into kids' heads with good stuff, or is it a matter of, in the meantime, we've got to empower the parents and families and everybody else to recognize what's happening and inoculate kids from this when they go into that environment?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a war on all fronts. So one of the things, like, just look at Mississippi or Missouri, who just changed to phonics reading, and now their reading scores are going up. So whole world reading was specifically designed by the collectivists. So we need to go things back to phonics that can help our students that are in there, and then families that can pull their kids out and homeschool or send them to private school should be doing that, because those systems can aren't inherently Marxist. And then we need, churches to be starting scholarship funds and businesses to be encouraging their employees to send their kids to, private schools, providing scholarships for their employees, because if they want the next generation to be able to, read and do math and be good, good members of their business, well, they need an educated populace. And that's not what we're getting from this collectivist cult that we call the public school system in America.
Okay, so your day job is being the CEO of Classical Conversations. How does what you're doing as far as Classical Conversations work into what you're trying to argue to people in your book?
Yeah, so at Classical Conversations, we've created a non-woke curriculum K through 12th grade that parents can use at home. And then we also create communities of homeschoolers that meet once a week with a trained parent tutor so that they can feel confident about homeschooling through high school. And we have free parent homeschooling boot camps during the summer as well. So we are trying to break this education establishment from the grassroots level.
Okay, so if somebody says, I'm unable to homeschool, or I'm scared to take that leap, is this still something they could incorporate in, for lack of a better term, after hours to combat or fill in the blanks from what kids are getting at a public school or a charter school or even a private school?
Yeah, there are parents who definitely do that, and we have parents that send their kids to public school that come to our summer homeschooling boot camps, because that's just going to benefit you to become a better parent overall, even if you're not homeschooling them. But, I mean, every single parent in America needs to be reading to their kids at night. That's the easiest thing we can do to start combating and fighting back against this Marxist woke ideology.
What should they be reading to the kids? I mean, what is it that the parents should be putting in that not only their kids are not getting from the typical public school, but that they would need to push back against what they are getting at the public school?
I mean, pretty much any sort of kids book written before 1970. Anything written since then has been pretty much woke garbage.
Yeah.
So just go ask your parents what they read to you or what books they read growing up, and get those.
All right. And once again, the book is called Woke and Weaponized. I'm assuming we can find it pretty much anywhere, Robert, right?
Yep. Amazon.com.
There it is. Okay. And Classical Conversations. People want to find out more about that, because I have a feeling that there's probably somebody goes, oh, wait a minute. I may want part of that. Is this something that even like a Christian school could say, hey, maybe we should take a look at that as well? Because most people have I think, a misunderstanding of what a lot of Christian schools are. They think of them as big palaces and elitist type of things, and there's certainly a few of those out there, but most of them are basically in the back of churches, and they're just trying to give their kids a place to be educated without dealing with all the garbage that you wrote about in your book.
Yeah, you can go to classicalconversationsbooks.com or Classical Conversations. We've got resources for everyone who wants to see a better future for our young people.
All right. And Robert, people want to connect with you or they've got questions. They want to contact you. What's the way to do it?
Yeah, I'm active on X, The Robert B. Show. The Robert B. Show on X or robertbortins.com. You can email me there.
Okay. The Robert B. Show, real quick, put out a promo for that. What are we looking for?
Yeah, I'm on X, and I'm talking all the time about fatherhood, about education reform, and just trying to help get the conversation going so that our country can be saved.
All right. And we already tagged you on our social media. Robert, good chatting with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. And speaking of bucking that system, we got Riley Gaines on the program tomorrow at 8:05.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
I completely forgot to ask you this, but do you know what day it is?
See, I'm good. I have a chance of, I got a 50-50 chance of getting it right.
What could you tell me?
I'm going to say Bump Day.
You would be correct. That is more important than the other day it was going to be.
The other day, yeah, I don't care about Earth Day.
And we're going to celebrate it by making sure that nobody's left behind. That means that sometimes people are just not a fan of 80s music. It took a little bit to grow on me. Flashback Friday helped recondition me to appreciate it.
It just means that you were wrong before.
I got learned. And we're going to help learn the others as well. So everybody out there has to know at least one song, any genre, that it came out in the 80s and you were just like, wow, that is just a good song. So send me, Jerome, at NewsTalkSTL.com, your 80s songs that even 80s music haters will have to say, wow, that was good.
When you think of a donut shop or you think of a donut restaurant, what do you think of? Well, you think of donuts, of course. But how about this? Mario's Donut Restaurant, which, by the way, mariosdonutrestaurant.com, they've got so much more. I mean, if you're like me and you say, listen, I really want to eat some stuff that's got some nutrition and substance in it, but don't get me wrong, I love me some Mario's Donuts. We have them basically once a week here at the radio station. I love Mario's Donuts, and yes, there is a difference. They are so much better than those gas station donuts. I'm telling you that Mario's Donuts are a cut above. But you want some eggs? You want a breakfast sandwich? You want to get, of course, a great cup of coffee? Mario's Donut Restaurant, which is right there on Mugi Road. So check them out, mariosdonutrestaurant.com. They've got their revamped menu, and they've got everything from breakfast to dinner and dessert. How about a tiramisu? How about a wrap? How about a gyro? They've got everything there, and they can handle your breakfast. They can handle your lunch. They can handle your dinner. They can even cater. But I am telling you, treat yourself to the donuts as well. Run on into Mario's Donut Restaurant. Grab those great donuts. Grab a menu as well. mariosdonutrestaurant.com. I love them because it's better than the other donuts, and I have the sweet tooth of an 8-year-old.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Ken, do you know that the Strait of Hormuz choke point cripples Beijing?
No.
It does. And Larry Behrens from Power of the Future will talk more about that Wednesday at 9:41. What do you think about that?
I love it.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Just saying, a lot of times when I talk about Mario's Donut Restaurant on Wednesdays, it tends to manifest into a box of Mario's Donut Restaurants that come into the studio or into the station.
I need you to work your magic
I'm
today.
just
Manifest
saying,
it, please.
I'm not saying that to put pressure on anybody who may or may not be driving into work right now. I'm just saying that that's what's happened in the past. Okay, voters in Virginia changed the political landscape, and not just for themselves, possibly for the country in yesterday's vote. Missouri voters are going to have the final say on the state income tax. And also, the Cardinals just surprising everybody.
Wow.
I mean, they are exceeding what we all thought they were going to do. And so I'll give you the update on that as well. It's 8:50 right now. We got about 7 minutes before we turn things over to somebody else. So let's go and do another news dump here.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, let's start with the war in Iran. The way things were being discussed literally 24 hours ago is not how they're being discussed right now. President Trump, despite not getting a deal with Iran, has agreed to extend the ceasefire with Iran.
The president says the United States is extending the ceasefire at the request of Pakistani officials. He writes on social media that the U.S. military will not attack Iran as its leaders come up with a unified proposal to end the war. In the meantime, however, the president says the U.S. will continue its blockade of all Iranian ports. Greg Clugston, Washington.
I mean, so 24 or 36 hours ago, what we're talking about is if they don't agree to our deal, we're going to start dropping bombs everywhere. Iran went, no. And so now we're like, okay, well, let's do a longer ceasefire. Now, maybe that's strategic. I don't know, but it's shifted from where we were just a day ago or so.
Yeah, and as of this morning, our time, Iran is still trying to capture and or shoot at any ships that are disobeying their version of the blockade or closing of the restricted travel.
Yeah, so they've got a blockade and we've got another blockade. So together we've shut down basically the whole thing with a little trickle of traffic getting through. But the reality is that there are a lot of shippers and companies, and we're including energy companies and oil and stuff, that are like, yeah, that's a mess. We're not putting our, $200 million cargo ships at risk here.
Yeah, and then now, according to the AP News, basically some of these energy production companies are saying to expect energy crises in certain parts of the world.
It very well could happen. Yep. All right. It is up to voters now. The Missouri House approves the proposal to put an income tax elimination constitutional amendment on the ballot later this year. Now, this has already been approved by the state Senate. And so now that the House has passed this, it goes right to the voters. It does not require the governor's signature, although Governor Kehoe is on board and he supports this plan. If approved by voters in the referendum vote, state lawmakers will then be tasked with a constitutional mandate to phase out the state income tax. How exactly that will be done by the lawmakers, but it'll be based on a constitutional mandate. Republican lawmakers say a combination of reducing spending and expanding sales taxes is how that will be accomplished, in addition to, frankly, generating more taxpayers through increased residency in businesses and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, we see a nationwide trend right now of being overtaxed or feeling like you're overtaxed even is causing a massive flight from a lot of these areas. If we can draw those people here, then it doesn't matter if we have income tax or not. We'll have more of a consumer base to generate more revenue.
Okay, so a week from tomorrow is the Road to Zero Town Hall event, and that is us here at News Talk STL, Americans for Prosperity, Mo Tax Relief Now. We are teaming up to bring you this event, and two of the key political figures, policymakers, Ben Keithley, Nick Schroer, are going to be there with me, and we are going to have a conversation about this, especially if you say, I don't understand how this is supposed to work. How is it going to affect me? I hope that you come. You can question them. If you disagree with this and you've got questions, come. This is a true town hall conversation. Go to newstalkstl.com. Look for the Road to Zero slider there, and the RSVP is linked on there, and you can reserve your spot. Okay, Democrats could pick up as many as 4 seats in the U.S. House this November because of Virginia's redistricting. Voters there narrowly approved a referendum giving the Democratic-heavy General Assembly the green light to redraw the district maps before the midterms this year. Now, that's likely to take the state's U.S. House delegation from 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. And, of course, this follows Texas gerrymandering in favor of Republicans, California gerrymandering in favor of Democrats, Missouri gerrymandering in favor of Republicans. And then, of course, last year you've got Illinois, or 2 years ago, Illinois gerrymandering in favor of Democrats, Maryland doing the same thing for Democrats, New York State doing the same thing for Democrats. So we're basically in a great big permanent gerrymandering war is what we're doing now.
Which is unfortunate because I don't believe that the Dems were going to do that first. I think that this is them.
Well, they did do it first.
Well, they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, this time around, when we actually had a stronger red map available to us, I think this is a spiteful, you're going to do it? Well, we'll show you. We can do it too.
Yeah. How dare you retaliate?
Yes.
Here comes ours. I'm not sure the Republicans thought this one through.
No.
Really well. Okay. St. Charles residents in the 1st Ward have a new city councilman after this name was picked in the random drawing.
It's Chris Kyle.
All right, and just like that, a new city council member is taking office in St. Charles City after a tie in the April election for the Ward 1 seat. That tiebreaker coming after these 2 men both got 572 votes to be the council member for Ward 1. The draw making Chris Kyle the winner over incumbent Bill Otto. Kyle with the other elected council members.
Okay, that's KMOV's Corey Stark reporting there. Okay, a grand jury in the Middle District of Alabama indicting the Southern Poverty Law Center on 11 counts of financial fraud. And the indictment says the group paid $3 million to organizations including the Ku Klux Klan. The Southern Poverty Law Center funneled money to various chapters of the Ku Klux Klan, according to these indictments that was pushed by the Department of Justice. The SPLC denies all of the accusations, but this is going to go to a criminal trial.
This circus is just getting too silly for this clown, man. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you. All right, the Cardinals even up the series with the Marlins, beating them 5-3 in Miami yesterday. The final game of that series starts at 11:10 Central, or our time here. Redbirds are tied with the team from Chicago that shall not be named for second place in the NL Central. Both of those are a game and a half behind the Reds. So this is a very tight race as we get into 15 to 20% of the way through the season right now. Also, the Battlehawks make a rare trade in the middle of the UFL season. Offensive tackle Corey Stewart traded to the Dallas Renegades in exchange for quarterback Luis Perez, who's going to move into the backup role for the Battlehawks this week. Perez led the UFL in passing the last 2 seasons. The Battlehawks play the undefeated Orlando Storm on Saturday evening. The Storm, they are led by former Battlehawks head coach Anthony Becht.